man in the society, in the sense that for you to be eligible to pay, you have to earn up to 800,000 naira in per annum. And I begin to ask the question, is there anyone in Nigeria, when you check minimum wage in Nigeria, for example, which is 70,000, that will bring it to about 840,000 naira in a year. So at the end of the day, the common man is crying, the rich are crying, entrepreneurs and business owners. And I want to ask the question, going by this new law, this tax law, who actually is paying?
You know, like I said also, I must also re-establish the fact that, like I said, I am not a tax expert. However, these issues are very clear, and you know, they are written in plain languages, and we should be able to understand them to be able to make, you know, on the surface assessment. Yes, we all want a tax. For me, there's nothing wrong in tax reform. You know, it's part of the responsibility of government to reform our social, you know, governance systems to ensure a better society. But in doing that, there are pertinent questions to ask. I have to a reasonable extent, I've tried to, you know, catch up with the arguments for and against the tax, and I've also tried to, you know, read the snippets of, you know, what the law says. I don't have so much issues against the new tax regime, but for me, I don't think it's as good as the government is painting it. The new tax law, you remember, is about 4 different laws now meshed together into one in a single tax law.
Yes.
In a single law. I have questions that I have not been able to see answers concerning the new law. Yes, you say, okay, fine. Those who earn about 800,000 naira and below, you know, they are exempted from payee. But that is payee, that is on payee, right? And you also say on VAT, some categories of items are exempted, not all. But there are also a whole lot of other things that fall within the tax, within the VAT, that those who are exempted from the payee are also going to pay. Many of them. That is number 2. Number 3. Now, yes, those who earn more in Nigeria, and I think that is where the issue has always been, you know, expanding the tax net. Expanding the tax net. The government itself, many of the things that are going to fall under, let me give you an example. Number 1, the issue is, up till now, as long as I'm concerned, the government is still not very clear about taxing income on personal accounts. Yes, they've tried to present and provide an explanation, but I'm not clear. It's still not clear. It's still a bit vague. Because if you say you're not going to tax somebody's personal income, provided that the income that account is not used for business. Yes, we also agree that there are many people today who use their personal accounts for business. We cannot deny that fact. There are people who do that very clearly. Number 1, I think what government should do is to make a law for any business transaction above so and so amount. And even if there's a law on that, insist on the implementation. If you're going to pay somebody, if you're going to pay somebody for goods and services up to so and so amount, if somebody is giving you a personal account for payment, you the payee refuse, right? To enable the government, in other words, if I have rendered a service to you or I've sold goods to you, that pay the money. If it is a personal account, you should refuse. That will mandate me to go and provide a company account, right? And even if you are going to do that once, the second time refuse. If you refuse, then I'll be forced to go and provide a company account. If I have a company already, I'll be forced to go and open an account for it and comply with what the law says before I can open a company account. so that government can appropriately monitor and tax my business transactions. That is number one. If I don't have a company yet, I'll be forced to go, since it's now business, I'll be forced to go and register a company. And the process of registering a company must be, made seamless, so that more people will be attracted to it. Now, but when you now say that you will monitor my personal account, that if you discover that I'm using it for business, how do you determine that I'm using it for business? How do you know that the money this man is giving me, I heard somebody say, if the payment is consistent over a period of time, that is balderdash. That is balderdash. Are you saying that because the government has still not told us what is the yardstick to determine a payment that is strictly business? That is what I'm yet to get explanation from.
Right.
On that issue.
Because we are still on the economy, and I would want to get your opinion on the presidential New Year speech to Nigerians, especially as regards the economy. But before we get into that, let's take a look at 2025, where we see Dangote and the petroleum importers,
Yes.
were totally at war. The energy sector was dominated by a price war, as local marketers and slashed their price, because Dangote forced their hands to slash their price, and with that they claim that they will lose billions as well. But what I'm asking, coming into the new year, what is your perspective on this whole scenario? Do you think Nigeria should encourage and welcome more of such discrepancy and disagreement between a private refinery owner and the petroleum marketers and importers in Nigeria? Or is that another failing of our government?
No, you see, we first and foremost, what we should ask ourselves is, at the end of the day, who is the beneficiary of these whole processes now? We have said it before. Part of the challenges that we have in this country today is because we have not done the right thing. If we do the right thing, we will get the positive dividends. See, let me tell you, number one, the question to ask here is, before now, petroleum refining and to a larger extent, the downstream sector is purely controlled by NNPC, right? Now, until Dangote came into the fray. Now, to start with, that is a break of monopoly. Monopoly is not to the benefit of the people. As an economic policy, is not to the benefit of the people. That is where it is. What we have said is, the government should do everything possible, the way Dangote was assisted, right, to come up to where he is today. More organizations should be, whether they are modular in nature or they are large in nature, they should be assisted. They should be assisted, because if we have many more players in the downstream sector in Nigeria, and even in the upstream sector, there will be competition. And once there is competition among major players, the consumers of the products become better off. Let's use the communication sector, for instance. We will recall that prior to 2000, telecommunication services in Nigeria were rendered mainly by Nitel of old. And you know how difficult it was then. In fact, if you recall, I don't know, I believe that you are old enough to know when some characters who are in the public scene today were in charge of the telecommunications management of this country. Many statements were made that telephone is not for the poor. Now, why was that statement relevant at that time? Because it was under heavy monopoly. But as we moved on, telecommunication services was, deregulated. Many more players came into the scene. Competition naturally will set in, because when you have more players coming into the scene, competition will automatically set in. And price you will see price fluctuating to the benefit of the consumer. So in the petroleum sector, let there be more players. What Dangote for economic activity, and at the end of the day, if they have to accuse themselves, let them accuse themselves, because another angle to it is also that you know, of course, you saw that accusation led to the ouster of many of some of the heads of the agencies.
Yes.
The agencies.
Yes.
So you know, one thing about in a situation where people, one of the you see, sharing of booty is a negative phenomenon, right? But there's an inherent advantage that comes out of it. Most times it leads to exposure on criminality. When people, you know, whether by robbery or by breakage or by looting or whatever thing, however it happens. Now, go and wait for them. If you try to track them and you're not able to track them, the sharing of the booty is another junction where you wait for them. Most times you see fingers pointing, accusing fingers at each other, and from there, and through that means you get to know about, you know, things that are even hidden. Dangote made a lot of accusations against some of these gentlemen. I'm sure some of these accusations you and I didn't know. You and I didn't know before now, but now we know.
All right. Sir Emeka, on that note, let's just go on a short break, and when we return, we'll continue to probe on these very issues.
Thank you very much.
The eagle stands as a majestic symbol of strength, clarity, and vision. Its ability to soar above storms signifies resilience, while its shaped sight represents focus. This is why many nations, including Nigeria, use the eagle as an emblem of nation pride. Eagles do not fear challenges, they embrace them. They fly higher when the winds become strong, rising above obstacles rather than avoiding them. This teaches us that problems are not barriers, but stepping stones for those who dare. To live like an eagle is to stay focused, courageous, and disciplined. It is to see opportunities where others see only difficulties. The sky is not your limit.
Thank you for staying with us on the Insight, and we've been with Sir Emeka Odom, a journalist, development communication expert, and a public affairs analyst. And we'll be looking at the mega shift and 2026 battle plan. Sir, yes, we've been looking at the economy, but before finally we'll rest on this very issue,
Okay.
I just want to ask a very quick one. When you heard the president give his New Year message, were you reassured, especially from the economic outlook and perspective for 2026?
Very unfortunate, and I am very sorry if I disappoint a lot of people. The truth is that I'm not moved with that speech. You know, that is me. That is not to say that there's anything wrong with the speech, but I'm not moved with that speech. And my reasons are very clear and very simple. You see, since the president came into power in 2023, for me, it's been the same, you know, the same rhetorics, and it's becoming moribund to my own ears. Oh, this is the reason why we had to devalue the currency. Oh, we had to, you know, remove the subsidy on fuel. Oh, we had to float the naira, devalue the currency, remove subsidies here and there. That's the same story. And then promises of things we've not seen. My understanding of, you know, these simple issues, the matrix of, you know, good governance, is even when you're bringing a policy that is very hard, that's going to be very harsh, you yourself as a leader must know, we must have an idea how this policy is going to react on the people, and provide a succor ahead of time, right? But we didn't see any of these things in this administration. Promises were made. Where are the CNG vehicles today? I thought by now the CNG system will be so available that you know, if you just want to go and change your energies, the energy system of your vehicle to CNG, you just easily walk in, drive into any of the centers with very little, you know, expenditure. You change. Today that's not happening. Look at the gas. Look at cooking gas in Nigeria today. About 1,000 something for a kg. These are some of the things that are adding to the pressure that Nigerians are going through. Now the new tax regime. How much are we paying for electricity today? We came up with the idea of band A. We know how. An average Nigerian, you buy fuel for your car, you buy fuel for the for generator in the house, and you buy fuel for probably the generator in your little place of work. And all of this is an exception to all the other expenditures we have to do: school fees, house rent, and that are almost going up on a daily basis. Right. How else do you want the life expectancy of Nigerians not to drop with all of these things? So I think that the all of these promises of we're going to do better, we will do this, and the promises are far more than what we can see on ground. That's my thinking. So all of these speeches, and you know, one thing that has always happened in Nigeria is people come to write very beautiful speech for the president or the governor, or, you know, and they come out and read all of these speeches, and while the principal is reading these speeches, the rest of the countrymen and women are completely and totally detached from the speech. Even a common man on the street, even somebody who doesn't follow events, will tell you the man just talking. Oh no be the way they happen here.
All right. For want of time, Sameka, you understand that there are a lot of issues to unravel as we set the agenda for 2026.
Yes.
But due to the signal I'm receiving, I want us to quickly look at two key issues that shaped 2025 and would set the agenda for 2026. One of such issues was the Christmas Day precision strike in Sokoto, which, according to promise by President Donald Trump, that will be swift and sweet. And indeed, I don't know if you agree that it was indeed swift and sweet as well. But what I want to ask, do you see this event shaping the outlook, the political outlook of the country in 2026 and the economy as well?
Yes, because security, by every, you know, without any doubt, usually affects every other aspect of life. You recall that in 2014, you know, the general election, one of the issues that probably worked against President Goodluck Jonathan at that time was the security situation in the country. A lot of people felt, look, the country can't continue this way, you know. So security has a direct impact. Now, yes, we saw the intervention, the American intervention on you know, on Christmas Day, and also the rhetoric that followed suit. You know, the Nigerian, it was a collaborative strike. It was this, it was that. Even though today we don't know, because see, events of this nature, after it, there's always a narrative that comes, an official report that we can hold on to say this strike, these are the people that, you know, were targeted, this is how successfully it has gone. It's not just to come and say it was a successful, you know, event. There are benchmarks. And these benchmarks, you look at them, the indices, okay, based on so and so. But I don't think we have any of those. We only told it was, and we also told that it was a precision strike. Now, another narrative is coming up. People, some people in Kwara State are saying that now, to all of those things, nobody can say this is the situation till today. So I think that these are the. But talking about whether it's going to in 2026, yeah, I think it was it yesterday or so, and I was reading a report. Was it Riley Moore, you know, the American senator, who said that more of such should be expected, you know, and you see, because A lot of Nigerians are not happy with the security situation in Nigeria. And most importantly, it's not just that there's something wrong with the way security. A lot of people also feel, many people feel that irrespective of what we are being told, irrespective of the few movements we are seeing here and there, or few actions we are seeing here and there, some people believe that a lot of more political will is expected to deal with these issues. Perhaps the level of political will that we are seeing so far is not enough. Some people feel there should be more, right? And that more that is needed, that more is there local capacity for it? Does local is there local, I mean, is a capacity available locally, or it is something that appeal will have to be sent and help canvas for externally? These are questions that needs to be answered. What American people came to do here, without American intervention, does Nigeria have the capacity to do it and even do more? If yes, why do we need to wait for the Americans to come and do it? Why haven't we done it? If no, how come we have not appealed to America before now? How come it was only Donald Trump started shouting that this came? Is it that America themselves have been approached and they said no, and it is only now that they are willing, or they have not been approached? So a lot of things, a lot of questions
still needs to be answered. All right. And finally, because I'm getting signals, I am sorry, but and I know our audience too will be, because there are many many things to unravel, and it's been a very fruitful one. But before I let you go, part of the events that did shape 2025 that we know would set the agenda for 2026 and 2027 going forward. Though you rightly observe, we do not know if the election will come in this year or
Yes.
the next. But that event is the mega party formation.
Yes.
We saw the opposition figures like Atiku and P2B, coalescing into the ADC, leading to the event that happened here in Enugu yesterday at Aneke Resort, where P2B formally declared his stand with the ADC. Do you see this very action of being part of the events that will shape 2026, especially the politics of Nigeria going into 2027?
Absolutely. You see, I have also said this before. In fact, sometime around, was it around February or March 2025, I had said that, look, the opposition must come together. When the whole talk of mega party was, the issue of mega party or no mega party, and I said the opposition must come together. You see, whether we like it or not, today the president has become a strong political figure. He's a sitting president, and a good political strategist at that. You can see the result. A lot of governors are, gravitating towards him. This is not accidental. There is a careful and strategic, plan put in place and followed. So you don't plan to in football today, if you want to go and play Brazil or Spain or any of the big superpowers in world football, you need to get your acts together.
Need advert placements, coverage for events, or the latest news stories? Call 070 30437110 right now. Aneke TV, move with the world.
Good afternoon and welcome to news across the country on Aneke TV. I'm Deborah Wakaba. Now to the headlines. National Assembly focuses on President Tinubu's budget and electoral reforms. Commissioner declines out-of-court settlement for teenage victims. And now to the details of the news. The 10th National Assembly has resumed plenary with priority attention on President Bola Tinubu's proposed 58.47 trillion naira appropriation bill for the 2026 fiscal year. Senate Leader Obayemi Bamidele says lawmakers are working to preserve the January to December budget cycle, describing the proposal as central economic stability, deficit control, and job creation. He notes that recent fiscal measures, including the 2025 Tax Reform Act, are expected to improve revenue performance and reduce borrowing pressures. The Assembly is also approaching the final stage of the ongoing review of the 1999 Constitution. Senator Bamidele says the harmonized report is expected before the end of March, after which proposed amendments will be transmitted to the State House of Assembly for consideration. The review is aimed at addressing governance gaps and strengthening institutional effectiveness. In addition, lawmakers advancing work on a new electoral bill ahead of the 2027 general elections. The bill proposes expanded use of technology, including real-time electronic transmissions of results, voting provision for inmates, and tougher penalties for electoral offences. The Senate leadership says the remaining months of the Assembly's tenure will focus on reforms designed to improve governance and socio-economic outcomes. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has fixed Saturday, February 21, 2026 for by-elections in Rivers State. The exercise will hold in Al-Hada East Sector 2 and Kana 2 state constituencies to fill vacant seats in the State House of Assembly. The Commission says timetable was issued in line with provision of the Electoral Act 2022. Polling is all scheduled to commence at 8:30 a.m. with only registered voters in possession of valid permanent voters' cards allowed to participate. The Commission maintains that voting will take place strictly or designated polling units, urging residents to verify their details on the voters' register ahead of the exercise. INEC will deploy the bimodal voter accreditation system for voter verification and authentication. The Commission says the technology is aimed at ensuring transparency and credibility while calling on voters, political parties, and security agencies to support a peaceful and orderly process. Kano State Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf is facing renewed political pressure following a series of resignation from his cabinet after his defection to the All Progressive Congress. The Commissioner for Internal Security and Special Services, Ibrahim Umar, has stepped down, citing loyalties to Senator Rabi Musa Kwankwaso and the Kwankwasiya movement. His resignation letter described the decision as one based on principle. Umar's exit brings to fore the number of commissioners who have resigned since the governor's defection. Those who have also left their positions include commissioners overseeing humanitarian services, tertiary education, and sport, as well as the Director General of the State Pilgrims Welfare Board. The developments signal growing political division within the State Executive Council. Observers say the wave of resignation reflects an internal realignment of loyalties within Kano's political structure. While the former officials expressed appreciation for the opportunity to serve, the situation presents fresh challenges for the governor as he works to stabilize his administration amid shifting alliances ahead of the 2027 political cycle. Traditional rulers in Abia State have launched a statewide mobilization campaign to boost registration for the National Identification Number and permanent voters' cards. The chairman of the State Council of Traditional Rulers, Eze Linus Untomba, says monarchs across the 17 local government areas have resolved to lead advocacy efforts within their communities. The council says the initiative follows report that Abia is trailing in national registration figures. Traditional rulers plan to walk through community structures to ensure eligible residents are captured in both identity and voter databases. They also intend to visit registration centers to assess the availability of equipment and personnel.
Izuntumba described the campaign as non-political, stressing that accurate population data and broad civic participation are vital for development planning and fair resource allocation. The monarch said the goal is to bridge gaps between rural and urban communities and strengthen the state's participation in national digital and democratic processes. Religious leaders from across Igbo-speaking communities have unveiled plans for the Maiden Igbo annual Thanksgiving and Adoration Day, a spiritual initiative aimed at giving thanks to God for preserving the Igbo people during the Nigerian Civil War and promoting unity across the region. The first observance is scheduled for the last Saturday of January. Correspondent Jennifer has the details. You're watching Aneke TV News across the country. Remember, you can follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, all at Aneke TV. Now here's a quick reminder of major developments in the news today. National Assembly to prioritize Tinubu's budget and electoral integrity. And coming up shortly, Commissioner rejects out-of-court settlement for 17-year-old victim. We'll be right back.
Need advert placements, coverage for events, or the latest news stories? Call 070-3043-7110 right now. Aneke TV, move with the world.
Welcome back. Religious leaders from across Igbo-speaking communities have unveiled plans for the Maiden Igbo annual Thanksgiving and Adoration Day, a spiritual initiative aimed at giving thanks to God for preserving the Igbo people during the Nigerian Civil War and promoting unity across the region. The first observance is scheduled for the last Saturday of January. Correspondent Jennifer has the details.
Religious leaders in Enugu have called for spiritual renewal, unity and a return to God as preparations intensify for the forthcoming Igbo Day of Adoration and Thanksgiving. The call was made during a joint news conference by prominent Christian clerics from various denominations who described the event as a sacred moment for healing, reflection and collective redirection for the Igbo people. Archbishop Sostenes Eze of Enugu Ecclesiastical Province and Bishop of Enugu North Diocese, Anglican Communion, said the Day of Adoration represents an opportunity for deep reflection, reconciliation and renewed faith in God's purpose. Archbishop Eze reflected on repeated ordeals faced by the Igbo people across the country, noting that survival in the face of adversity is itself evidence of divine favor.
The Aneke Igbo and the church fathers last week, Thursday, proclaimed that every last Saturday of every January, the whole Igbo race globally, wherever they are, in Nigeria and outside Nigeria, and in particular within the boundaries of the Igbo race, should take that day as a day of thanking God, just worshiping God. And so this gathering is not a political movement. No, it's a completely religious movement, a Christian movement. A gratitude for what God did for the Igbo man.
Bishop Obi Onugbogu of Rock Family Church, Enugu, and the former chairman of the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, PFN, Enugu State, reflected on the painful memories of the Nigerian Civil War. He noted that while the scars of the past remain, the Day of Adoration provides a solemn opportunity for healing, forgiveness, and a collective return to moral and spiritual values capable of rebuilding society. Bishop Obi Onubogu said he personally witnessed the horrors of the war in his 20s and understands the urgency of collective thanksgiving. He described the day as one chosen deliberately for gratitude rather than bitterness, stressing that the Igbo people survived solely by God's mercy.
The day we are about to celebrate next Saturday, it's not for politics. It is a day of gratitude, a day of thanksgiving. For we did not survive by our strength, neither did we survive by our wisdom. We survived by the mercies of God, as quoted. It's a miracle that I'm here. I'm not supposed to be here. What I survived, I cannot even think about it. I survived air raids. I survived strafing. I survived terrible snake bite. And God, the God that we serve and that we worship and we thank, made it possible for us to survive. We here choose thanksgiving over bitterness.
Emeritus Archbishop Amos Madu of Oji River Diocese described the initiative as long overdue, saying it provides an opportunity for Igbo to acknowledge God's omnipotence and faithfulness.
The Igbo nation missed the blessing of God after the Civil War, because the Igbo people, our fathers then, those who survived the war, could not show gratitude to God. So, after many years of suffering, God laid it upon the hearts of his people that something must be done, that something was responsible for the Igbo dilemma. And what was it? That the Igbo people, the Igbo nation, owe God a great depth of gratitude. So this is a great opportunity for Ndị Igbo niile to come together to say thank you to God for saving the Igbo nation.
Adding his voice, Professor Ezichi Anya Ituma, moderator of the Presbyterian Church, Enugu Synod, emphasized that the program transcends denominational boundaries. He described it as a unifying spiritual platform for Christians of Igbo extraction to pray collectively for the land, its leaders, and future generations.
What we are saying is that the Igbo race, as Igbo people, we should all come together. It is very important. We should come together and appreciate God. And that is what the Igbo fathers of faith are saying. And that is also what the Ohanese is saying.
In a closing remark, Most Reverend Barrister Christopher Ede, Archbishop of Enugu Archdiocese, Methodist Church, Nigeria, represented by Very Reverend C.C. Ojike, urged Ndị Igbo to value the exercise, noting that the spiritual benefits of collective thanksgiving are immeasurable. The clerics jointly called on Christians, traditional rulers, community leaders, and youths to participate actively, stressing that genuine spiritual revival is vital for social transformation, ethical leadership, and sustainable development. The Igbo Day of Adoration and Thanksgiving is scheduled for Saturday, January 31st. Other church leaders, including retired and serving archbishops and bishops from various denominations, described the initiative as long overdue. They said it offers an avenue to deepen the Igbo people's relationship with God while fostering unity and shared identity.
Thank you very much, Jennifer, for that. And still on the news, Taraba state authorities have condemned the brutal assault of 17-year-old Iwasen Tehemba, who was allegedly attacked with a razor blade over an improving affair claim. The Commissioner for Women Affairs and Child Development, Ms. Mary Singen, met the survivor in Jalingo, emphasizing that the state will not tolerate attacks against children. Reports that a local court suggested an out-of-court settlement were rejected by the ministry, which insists justice cannot be sold. The incident reportedly involved Ms. Ramatu Abbas, who accused the teenager of involvement with her husband. The victim is receiving medical care and responding to treatment. Ms. Sinjan warned that social status or political influence will not shield anyone from prosecution. Authorities are also searching for Mr. Abbas, who reportedly divorced his wife following the attack and disappeared. The government has pledged full legal action against all involved, reiterating that the welfare and safety of women and children remain a top priority. Legislative operations in Katsina State remain suspended as the Parliamentary Staff Association of Nigeria (PASAN) continues its nationwide strike. Now it's in its third month. Since November 26, staff have blocked lawmakers from entering the House of Assembly over unpaid consolidated legislative salary structure. Conless entitlement. PANSAN chairman Idris Abdul Muminu Suleiman confirmed that no legislative business has taken place during the standoff. Previous strikes in 2023 and stalled negotiations over salary and conditions of service have contributed to ongoing disruptions. Although the disputed salary package is included in the 2026 budget, the union insists that legislative activities will remain frozen until payments are implemented. The strike has effectively paralyzed the state's lawmaking operations. A massive fire destroyed a residential and commercial complex in Okpoko, Anambra State early Monday morning, leaving dozens of families homeless. The blaze consumed 28 apartments and several newly restocked shops on Orumba Street. Residents and police managed to contain the fire, but almost all property and merchandise were lost. Preliminary reports indicate the fire may have been triggered by a power surge following electricity restoration. Landlord Kingsley Ogojiofo described tenants waking to flames that spread rapidly. Shop owners reported severe financial losses, particularly after recent inventory restocking. Authorities confirmed no casualties, but police and local officials remain on site to assess damage and maintain order. The incident raises fresh concerns about fire safety and stability of the local power grid following similar disasters in Oka. Governor Chukwuma Soludo ordered a one-week shutdown of Onitsha main market after traders ignored the Monday sit-at-home directive. The measure was described as a response to economic sabotage as market leaders failed to comply with government's instructions. The African Action Congress criticized the move as tone-deaf and argued it unfairly penalizes traders for the state security lapses. Party officials stressed that administrative sanctions cannot replace effective policing and community protection. The closure affects one of the West Africa's largest commercial hubs, raising concerns about regional trade and the livelihoods of thousands of traders. The standoff highlights tension between state authorities and market stakeholders over compliance and economic control. The federal government has launched a technical exercise to resolve disputes over oil and gas wells in coastal states. The Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission is coordinating a week-long mapping session in Abuja to determine ownership of disputed wells and ensure proper allocation of the 13% derivation fund. Technical teams conducted offshore field verification for months before digital mapping, with inputs from the National Boundary Commission and Surveyor General's Office. RMAFC officials described the process as the most transparent in Commission history. Face-off was scheduled between Edo and Delta, Anambra and Imo, and Rivers and Bayelsa. The exercise aims to eliminate boundary disputes, ensure correct revenue distribution, and provide long-term clarity for state budgets. Unilever Nigeria doubled its profit after tax to 31 billion naira in 2025, according to unaudited financial results. Turnover rose 44% from 150 billion naira to 215 billion naira, while gross profits reached 90 billion naira. Managing Director Toby Adeniyi credited the growth to a revamped route to market strategy and agile operations. The company's leading brands, including Knorr, Close Up, and Vaseline, continue to dominate consumer demand, driving sustainable quarter-on-quarter gains. Adeniyi described the performance as a reflection of the company's ability to navigate Nigeria's complex markets. Looking ahead, Unilever plans to focus on local innovation, supply chain optimization, and brand loyalty, aiming to sustain profitability while delivering high-value returns in 2026. Nigeria's new personal income tax reforms have begun impacting employee salaries with minimal increases in tax home pay. Some workers report gains as low as 400 naira, which are quickly offset by rising living costs. The reforms exempt low-income earners and reduce rates for those earning up to 20 million naira, but higher earners face increased deductions. Transactions fees and bank charges have reduced the intended benefits for many households. The Presidential Fiscal Policy and Tax Reform Committee will meet with HR directors and payroll managers to address implementation issues. Economists warn the system may strain household finances, prompted calls for possible amendments by the National Assembly. Distillery workers and civil society groups strengthen nationwide action following NAFTAC's ban on sachets alcohol and PET bottles under 200 ml. Protesters gathered at the agency's Lagos office, warning that the move risks over 5 million jobs. NAFDAC Director General Mojishola Adeyeye defended the policy as a public health measure for child protection. Unions argue the ban is economically damaging and bypass legislative deliberations, vowing to escalate protests to the National Assembly. Consumer rights group criticized the ban as unfairly targeting low-income consumers. The looming nationwide strike has intensified pressures on the federal government to resolve the dispute before economic disruption spreads. Super Eagles striker Victor Boniface has resumed gym training in Germany after knee surgery. The 25-year-old forward shared the update on Monday, making the start of intensive rehabilitation. Boniface had been sidelined during the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations, where Nigeria secured bronze in his absence. The medical team has not yet confirmed a return date for competitive matches. Fans and the football community are closely monitoring his recovery. The forward's early return to training signals progress towards reclaiming a starting position for Bayer Leverkusen and the national team. Nigeria's Green Arrows face defending champions Egypt today in the Group 1 finale of the African Men's Handball Championship. A win is crucial for Nigeria to secure a semi-final berth and a spot in the 2027 IHF Men's World Championship. Egypt leads the group with a perfect record, while Nigeria is in a tight race for second place after losing narrowly to Angola. Earlier results between Angola and Algeria could also affect Nigeria's qualification. Failure to finish in the top two would push Nigeria into classification matches, complicating World Cup qualifications. The team aims to continue a strong preliminary performance against top continental competition. Nigerian musician Zlatan Nibile clarified that his partner Davita Lamai is not his wife. Responding to a fan inquiry, he confirmed she is the mother of his children but has not legally married her. The revelation prompted mixed reactions on social media. The couple has shared milestones publicity, including their children's births and joint celebrations, but Zlatan emphasized the distinction between co-parenting and marriage. This update follows years of public attention on their relationship, including brief social media rifts. The statement underscores the complexities of celebrity domestic arrangements and public perception. Actress Anita Joseph faced backlash on Instagram after commenting on a post by Rosie Murray amid public debate over Murray's reconciliation with ex-husband Olakule Churchill. Joseph's comment drew criticism from fans who accused her of supporting the wrong side. Joseph responded with sharp remarks telling critics to be healed, escalating the online dispute. The incident has renewed public interest in the Tonto Dike Churchill saga, a long-standing controversy in Nollywood. Observers note the exchange highlights ongoing celebrity tensions in social media where private disputes attract widespread public attention and commentary. And now to head news across the country, here are the main points again. National Assembly to fast-track President Tinubu's 2026 budget with a focus on boosting national development and reinforcing transparency in government spending. Lawmakers also pledged to prioritize reforms aimed at strengthening electoral integrity across the country. Commissioner rejects out-of-court settlement for a 17-year-old victim, insisting on pushing for justice through legal channels. Authorities emphasize protection of minors and adherence to due process in all related cases. And that's news across the country at noon. For breaking news and eyewitness reports, call 070-3043-7110 or follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, all at Aneke TV. On behalf of the producer Chidima Sogwa and
an emblem of nation pride. Eagles do not fear challenges, they embrace them. They fly higher when the winds become strong, rising above obstacles rather than avoiding them. This teaches us that problems are not barriers, but stepping stones for those who dare. To live like an eagle is to stay focused, courageous, and disciplined. It is to see opportunities where others see only difficulties. The sky is not your limit, it is your launch pad.
Security is not just police on patrol. It is safety in homes, schools, markets, and mines. Without it, progress is impossible. Be alert, report danger, support community watch. True security is collective responsibility.
Ndị Igbo, this is a call to unity and thanksgiving. A historic day has been set. A day for one people, one voice. With Ohaneze Ndị Igbo have set aside the last Saturday of January as the Igbo World Day of Adoration and Thanksgiving. On January 31st, 2026, from 9 a.m. to noon, the Igbo people at home and across the nations will stand as one. One language, one faith, one voice of gratitude. In churches everywhere, worship will rise in the Igbo tongue, echoing a story the world cannot forget. A people who walked through war, loss, and long years of marginalization, yet refused to be broken. This is not just a service. It is remembrance. It is survival. It is thanksgiving for a people who endured with faith. Anglican, Catholic, Methodist, Presbyterian, Pentecostal leaders, together with CAN, Southeast Zone, invite every Igbo heart, young and old, near and far, to join this sacred hour. Prepare your spirit. Lift your voice. Give thanks to God for the Igbo journey, a journey of courage, faith, and triumph. January 31st, 2026, the Igbo world rises as one.
Reckless driving.
Your keke is, but no, you want to overtake a big trailer. Does it make sense? Well, there are just different causes of reckless driving here in Enugu, and most of them, if you check it, most of them actually are faults, like the driver's faults, and there are mistakes that should not be made.
Our people are impatient. We are too rushed in everything, especially this Ember mode. Somebody will be making efforts since January to the September, October, November. Once you reach November, it started what you didn't achieve since January. You try to achieve it under 1 month, which is not possible. If God want to bless you, He will bless you. But everybody should cool down. If you didn't eat something today, tomorrow we eat it. You must not get everything under pressure. So our people should be take it easy in life, especially commercial drivers, because as you are driving, they will try to maneuver you in the process. They will either you hit your car or you hit them.
I don't think there's any proper regulation of driving in the country that takes place. Though we have agencies like road safety, but we don't often take time to know whether the person passes through road test, driving tests. Those days we used to have a driving test where somebody would go and learn how to drive and would be tested before issuance of a driving license. So it should be reintroduced. People should really be known and tested to know how to handle the steering. 2, people should know the regulations of the road. Regulations. Don't overtake at a bend, don't overtake on a bridge and the rest of them. These basic things should be taught to people. I have a friend that traveled abroad and they said that for you to have driving license it takes 3 years of intensive learning. 3 years. Finland precisely. But you see here in Nigeria, once somebody can ignite a vehicle and set the tires rolling, the person drives, whether he has license or not. So basically that one. Then before we talk about the issue of drinking or not drinking and sleeping on duty, sleeping on steering or not sleeping on steering, people should learn how to really walk and have a time to rest. Not somebody driving from Enugu to Lagos, reaching Lagos 6 p.m. and he enters steering again to start coming to Enugu by 9 o'clock in the night, just about 3 hours. So there are many factors, please.
Drivers taking hard drug, then depression. License, some drivers don't have license and yet some of them will carry motor and come out. Some don't even know how to drive, but yet, because they have the access to car, they will take it. Then traffic light is another thing. Many are not obeying the rule of traffic lights, while some roads don't have traffic lights. Those that are enforcing these traffic rules, are they bending rules to some or not? You will see that you will get to some traffic lights, some will be catched, while some be left. Why? Especially when our political leaders are passing. They have to be the one to lead. If they should arrest others for disobeying traffic lights, our political leaders should do so too, to show the example. So, because of all these things, I feel that this is the main cause: not obeying the traffic lights, hard drug, not having license, or not learning how to drive and yet carry out the car and come out and start driving.
If we can control the way people drive this season, because any scratch now causes a fire outbreak. Like today, I went to Night Mile and I saw an accident that a tanker had to somersault, and it was with a fuel product inside. So automatically, that if there's any issue or any wound on it, it will cause a fire, and the whole place will be catch with fire. So that is some of the things we can control, is to control our driving speed, control like traffic measure, make sure that we take note of traffic measures on our roads.
It's just better you drive like with caution. Drive knowing that, oh, this life we have we don't have double life. We have one life, and then you know that if you lose that life, that's it. That's the end. So you just have to drive with caution.
So the solution is just law enforcement should not bend rules. You don't have to just arrest masses and then leave the wrecks because they are in political field. No. Then driving license should be something everybody, as far as you have access to car, you have to have your driving license.
My advice is that everybody should take it easy in this Ember month.
As voices continue to call for safer roads, one message stands out: road safety is everyone's responsibility. Authorities, drivers and pedestrians must all play their part to reduce the needless loss of lives. From Enugu, I am Sharon Uche, Aneke TV.
Aneke television. How agribo mu di egwu nkwa azụghị n'ahịa mgbochi ogwugwu kakwa ogwugwu ema. How mba ụwa bịa na ihe ebube eme. Mgbagbu ụwa gbatawa na ihe ebube emewa. Aneke television na-emere ogbenye emere amadi ihe. Ị na-agba nkwụ, ị na-eme nkepụta nwa, ị na-akwa ozu, ị na-agba
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the entertainment segment here at Aneke TV. And this is our entertainment show, and I'm telling you right now that we are ready for the more and the more and the more. Now, time agala, now, day agawala. And I am looking at this, that it looks like this year this year is trying to catch up with Usain Bolt because I'm a for the year and I turn into, because looking at just yesterday, I a happy new year and I had to eat to my satisfaction. This year now, the year agawala, almost end of the month. I told you guys that this year will run. And before the year runs, we will see what the year has in stock for the guys. Well, I am your one and only Commissioner of Enjoyment, and I am doing this today. Guess who? Guess who? I am doing this with the same red pepper and who I have tagged as red pepper, not just red pepper, but the social lawyer. Social lawyer. We're talking about Gift NG, one of the best in town. Who knows how to do this best and who has been doing this? I'm talking about 1, 2, ready, go. Let's unveil her.
The pepper is peppering.
The pepper is peppering. You get to the bean now. Angie, how you doing now?
How you see everywhere is just anybody just being calm, everywhere
Right.
is alright, and even like anticipating for next thing. Just everybody's trying to this January.
Everybody's trying to guide.
Guide.
But
Secure,
Abi.
Yeah, it's
But
not spending time.
no spending time. But I wanted to ask you, do you think this January has been like other Januaries?
This is January came out so calm.
Okay, like in spending,
Yeah, people
in
are just trying
sapaness.
No, people are trying to spend wisely this January.
Right.
Because last year came with a shock of so many things. There's gonna be an increase in this. You start paying off this. Everybody's trying to secure please. Everybody's just being anxious and trying to be mindful of how their expenditures and the rest. So I think this time around people are being very cautious with their spending, and you don't see anybody just do anyhow. Before you go to the market, before you buy something, you just list it, and according to priority, if it's not something that you need, actually you dump it there and move to the next one.
Right.
Yeah.
So that means a lot of people are dumping a lot of things.
Yes, obviously. As we are here now, that there are some things we just don't need to. And there are some things we need to.
Abi now.
Yeah,
We will no cast each other. Well, I will not cast anybody, and I'm telling you, we are doing this today together, and we are going to have some interesting conversations, things that we needed to talk about yesterday, and other things. Well, Angie, I think from when we stopped yesterday, from what is happening on the entertainment segment, we're still on I Show Speed, and right now we're bringing it towards Davido. Okay, I Show Speed and Davido. These two people are making it on the internet now. Same yesterday, Egungun. Egungun now. Of Lagos. Of Lagos. Now, the masquerade of Lagos.
Yeah.
Egungun came out yesterday to say that he bought a house, or he built a house. But he said that there's something he said that I want us to talk about. He said that it is not the people that point hands, it's the people that sit you down to correct you that matters. And you know why he said he was talking about this? He's talking about it because if I Show Speed, people were, banting him. Why will he be asking I Show Speed? You are so young, and he interviewed I Show Speed. So a lot of people were talking about the. But IG. Which one are you, IG or IG? All of the above. Red pepper, yeah, red pepper. I want to ask you, do you think that these guys, these celebrities, someone will just come out in a year and the person will blow up and have all the money and have all the things? Do you think this is the norm? Do you think that if you blow, if you blow now, it will happen to you the same way it happened? Do you think that is just what it is? Visibility attracts the money. Do you think visibility is equal to the money? Do you think that?
Yeah, and that's where moderation actually comes in.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
Because if you have that visibility and you're not able to moderate yourself, you will lose it.
Right.
It's just like when it's just like a wind. It comes and goes.
Yeah.
So for what makes the wind constant is when you are able to, get the boundaries, go the culvert that when the wind comes, there's still circulating air around it, even if it's not as strong as when it came. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So people, these celebrities, when did their wings and all their this thing comes in?
Kai.
Now the problem is are you going to stay relevant, and what are you going to do to stay relevant?
Do you get?
Do you understand? Most of them make that mistake. They get over excited about the small fame they have, forgetting that there's a futuristic part of it.
Ha!
Do you understand? So everybody is trying to play a role that I want to make it. I want to make it. Now, what's the problem is, can you be able to maintain it when you make it?
When you make
It's
it.
a total different question.
Yes.
If you're able to maintain that pace when you already landed there, and when you have landed there, you are confused.
Yes, of course, of course.
This actually happened to this fish pie guy.
Ah,
fish
you are
pie
remembering
guy.
Nonce Miraji boy.
Yeah, actually, he got the fame.
Yes, he got, of course, he got the fame. Yes.
And at a point, he lost the fame.
Hmm.
Why? Because that's where moderation and maintenance comes.
Okay.
He was not able to moderate that fame, utilize it in a way that it will yield more.
Okay.
Do you understand? He got overwhelmed. You know that somebody coming into a new system, you have it all luxury at your beck and call. At that point, everybody's calling you in your street. Everybody be like, this is why. Let me take pictures. He got distracted, forgetting that at a point when because people will just be like, you just even have bigger problem than you
so, that we are talking
at
about.
That point. So at a point, I think he got himself and
And he went from grass to grace, then returned to grass.
And when he called us,
he went from grass to grace,
yeah,
and returned back to which kind of grass did he go back to? Not even go
carpet grass.
Carpet grass, abi artificial grass, the one that cannot germinate one. Well, this guy that talking about that fish pie guy, I think he came out to say from the videos, he said that that he's not really, that he was used, he was really used. But see, you were used, but you were popular.
Do you know the small funny thing about this celebrity life, that lifestyle that people forget?
Tell me, as the celebrity.
People forget that for you to be there, you must be used by
right?
people there.
Of course, you are right.
It's a simple grammar that for you to be there, you have to be used by the people there. So if they don't use you to get what they, it's just like the old people will always try to use the people that have already gotten the fame previously, the glory and everything. At a point, their name will be like, it's not like they are not there, they exist, but they always want something that will also,
fire them up. Yeah.
So you, the incoming, they'll use you, and just like Nosmira using fish pie. I'm not surprised because this is what is happening in the entertainment industry. They have to use you.
No, see,
and now you have to be smart about it. Use them back.
See the thing. I think right now we are still going to go back to I Show Speed and Davido.
Yeah.
The both of them, how like not both of them, but what Davido said about I Show Speed. Now I want us to take it to this point where celebrities are meeting fame. And so sometimes people say that being a celebrity would mean you will have to sell your soul to a particular devil, not the devil generally, but you sell your soul. And still on that same matter, you are going to see that being a celebrity has a lot of attributes. You will be celebrated because that's the end. You did something that you should be celebrated. But it has come, people have come out to say that Lagos celebrities, like all these guys, when they came to Nigeria, like when I Show Speed came to Nigeria, the things he encountered, the things that, we did not present the rich side of our country. So he was only sponsored in Lagos. He was not sponsored anywhere. So what do you think about that? Do you think there were other places he would have been, he would have been to around the East, and considering the security challenges we have as a country? So what do you think about it?
To be honest,
if
I was I Should Speed, I would have made my local investigation about where I'm going to, and if actually the management knows more.
Of course, it's the management that have to.
For Lagos, for a certain fact, most of these foreigners do eventually base there or do their stuff there. Why? Because it's kind of safe.
It's safe because of security, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So now, a lot of rising issue about the East. This is happening in the East. People hear it. Sometimes I have a friend that stays in the North.
Okay.
And when I was like, please, I heard about the ongoing crisis in North. And you're like, there's nothing happening in the
Are
North.
you serious?
Like he's scared of the East because
Yay!
she heard obviously that there is a lot of all these blood masquerades and all this. There's a lot of killings in the East, and there's a lot of gunmen, attacking the people. And I was laughing, and I was actually telling her, oh, there was nothing of such in the North. She said everywhere is peaceful.
Really? Which side of North? Is it not Poland or not Abuke?
That shows you that they have their own opinion about the East, and we have the own opinion about the North.
And you know why this thing is interesting? Let me tell you why it's interesting. If you are out of Nigeria and you're looking at Nigeria, because of the news that used to come out of Nigeria, you go on X, you are seeing people debating. You see Sir Dixon, you see Abajondo, you see these people talking about, you see news. In fact, you go on just that mainstream media, you're seeing information. You'll be like, what's going on? Maybe this place is unsafe. Then what you will start doing is to start putting your facts together in a particular city. But guys, I didn't want to talk about these things today. I want to focus on relationship because a lot of things are happening on relationship. And I'm going to a field where NG baby can play, where the red pepper can play. Red pepper yesterday was dissecting my setting and dissecting everything. Now I want to go to that field where where it is very, very delicate. I should not go there. I mean.
Some people will shoot you from the screen.
But I wanted to ask Angie, what do you think about celebrity? Just like Tonto Dike has come out to say that she has reconciled with her maker first, then her ex, that's Church Hill. He have reconciled, and she has reconciled, of course. That they are now together and all that. Like, how many years they were separated for some years, 10 years, and they are back again. Angie, baby, do you think there's something about that relationship that maybe what do you think about that kind of relationship?
I can only tell you one thing as a lady.
Yeah, pride on,
Now you
mama.
go marry another person's husband.
Okay.
Forgetting that one day BP will catch up with
you. You see?
And that day BP will catch up with you. Just be sure to be secured with your kids because obviously Rosie, or what's her name, the third wife actually.
Yeah.
Because Tonto Dike obviously is the second wife.
Oh my
days. Just married 3 wives.
Are you serious?
If you do your local investigation, that's why he was not able to do a white wedding with Tonto.
With Tonto, right?
Yeah, he just did a normal.
But there's a rumor that Tonto was thinking that Churchy was a kind of like a politician's cousin. But when she found out, I think that was the rumor that I saw. That was the rumor that she was thinking that it was that man, that Churchy was a politician's cousin. So when she now found out, she now had to just quit the whole thing. I don't know if that's true because women. That's also talking about women looking for who is influential. Just like yesterday, I went to somewhere and I met this guy. He's very good, 2 + 2 3 4 guy. So we are talking about this not just as Tonto Dike kind of matter, but we're talking about women and how they are. What they are seeing about relationship, how they see relationship, and we talked about this yesterday. Can you help me to? I want to ask you, Angie. Do you think that it is good for a young man to? I asked you yesterday. I'm asking you again, but now in another light because I will tell you the story that why I'm asking you. Do you think it's good for a young man to, come to you now and say he has just, let's say he's earning 500,000 naira or he's earning 1 million naira? No, sorry, that's much. He's earning like 80,000. And you are earning, let's say, less or more. But do you think that can plan a wedding?
500,000 naira.
Okay, do you think 500,000 naira can plan a wedding?
I'm an event planner.
Tell us.
I'm an event planner.
Okay.
So I obviously know budget rate for planning events.
Okay, what's the budget rate for planning events like wedding?
500,000 naira cannot feed 20 people with good meal.
Please, so can you guys just please bring me in,
like,
because now I'm about to turn to mental mechanic.
Good meal, like, I mean different dishes.
No, excuse me, good
or
meal.
Do you want just one dish?
Excuse me, woman. Good meal. Mommy, did you not eat You ate at home.
Good meal and drinks. So.
No. Good meal and drinks. I don't understand. Like good meal and drinks, is it comprising of rice? There's no beans in wedding, so that we don't. There's no beans. There's okwa. Is it like cannot feed? What do you mean? 500,000 naira cannot? Okay. What can 500,000 naira do? Okay.
It can actually buy you your wedding gown, your shoe, your makeup, your everything as a woman you're using, your cake, and that's just what it can.
Wait, so that's what it can get you? 500,000. So
the bride itself is 500,000.
Okay, bride na 500,000.
Depending on the bride you go marry.
Okay.
Assuming you go marry a bride of 10 million, don't expect her, because there are brides that just their clothes. I've planned an event where a bride's clothes worth more than 20 million. Just her clothes.
Just her clothes.
Yeah. There are stone beaded clothes that just one stone beaded clothes, heavy stone beaded clothes.
20 million naira.
Cost 4 million, 5 million.
Can I ask you a question? Now I want to ask you a question. Please excuse me, dance. If the wedding, that bride clothes, did she later wear it in life?
She's actually going to give it to this tailor, just so that people can actually rehire, and she can actually keep it in her wardrobe in case she wants to go for a special occasion.
Oh, she wear wedding gown and go for special occasion.
Not wedding gown. I'm talking about clothes that she will actually wear during the wedding process. Maybe happy wedding shoot, after a day like bridal shower clothes, all these reception clothes, all these things, drag clothes.
Okay.
All this,
Okay. Wait. Let's talk about this. Angie. Oh my days. Angie, let's talk about this. What? As a celebrity planner you are. Yes, celebrity planner, and as a mental mechanic you are. Let me ask you. So you mean that 500,000 naira cannot plan a wedding for a young man who is trying to, and a young girl who's trying to rise?
There is no list now, unless you want to steal the lady from her people. That is 500,000 and below 500,000.
Below 500,000?
Yeah. List from the village. You don't collect her.
It's how much?
Unless you know finish paying like everything in the list. Just have more than 500,000, get it to 1 million.
All right, young men out there, my guys out there, everyone out there, I want to tell you that Mental Mechanica, I'm talking about Red Pepper, and Angie, the social lawyer, has told us, she just said that you cannot plan your wedding in case opening a budget. Now raise your budget because, raise your budget like a sound, raise it.
Like 5 million can actually do plan an event.
5 million can plan
just
wedding.
Give you a small touch of good, just small.
5 million.
Yes.
So no. I'm not poor. I'm not poor, okay? As the Commissioner of Enjoyment, I do this for a living. I help people plan their events and I give them. So if you want to do wedding, just meet me after the show. Let me, organize you. But as the Commissioner of Enjoyment, if you're in my constituency and you have my membership card, you come around. Let me, see what I can do for you.
Your bride.
Well, I am the bride of Christ. I am nobody's bride, but I'm the bride of Christ. And that is so amazing. Well, I'm telling you that this is something that we don't normally do. And because of time, we just have to take a walk out. And you know that tomorrow promises to be the best of what I'm telling you, that tomorrow is going to be power packed. We will have the pictures rolling in. We have the everything, the SFX rolling in, so that we can keep you very busy. But you've heard it from the social lawyer that 500,000 cannot do anything for you. So in case you want to do, in case you from 500,000, well, it's okay. We will look into that later. So tomorrow we'll still talk about that, but we're going to go to another side that is very important, and I will tell you guys a story of what happened over the weekend and how much. I want to keep this question with you. How much was egg when you were growing up? How much was egg when you were growing up? When we come tomorrow, we're going to answer these things and we're going to have some interaction time. Thank you very much, social lawyer, for being here today. I am so glad that you were here. And yes, and we do same thing tomorrow. See you same time, same station tomorrow here at Aneke TV Entertainment, and we will have you covered and give you all it is. Thank you very much and have a wonderful afternoon.
Need advert placements, coverage for events, or the latest news stories? Call 070 3043 7110 right now. Aneke TV, move with the world.
Anambra State, located in southeastern Nigeria, is one of the nation's most dynamic and enterprising regions. Created in 1976, it takes its name from the Anambra River, a tributary of the Niger. Its land is steeped in history, from the ancient Nri Kingdom, the cradle of Igbo civilization and spiritual authority, to the bustling commercial rise of Onitsha, one of West Africa's busiest trading cities. Every inch of its soil seems to breathe heritage, resilience, and the quiet power of innovation that defines the Igbo spirit. Anambra's people are known for their industrious drive, intellectual prowess, and unyielding creativity. Across Nigeria and beyond, they stand tall as business leaders, scholars, inventors, and professionals whose influence reaches every corner of society. From the sprawling market of Onitsha to the humming industrial machines in Nnewi, fondly called the Japan of Africa, the state exemplifies the fusion of tradition and modern enterprise. In Awka, the capital, new technology hubs and startups are springing up, harnessing the energy of a generation determined to build a future powered by knowledge and innovation. The state's endowments are immense. Anambra boasts of fertile soils that yield abundant harvest of yam, rice, cassava, and vegetables, feeding not just its people but the wider region. Sources: crude oil, natural gas, kaolin, and limestone, waiting to be fully harnessed. With a well-educated populace and a vibrant entrepreneurial culture, the state's economy is driven by small and medium-scale industries that continue to expand Nigeria's manufacturing frontiers. Culturally, Anambra is the heartbeat of Igbo identity. Age-long traditions and legendary figures like Nnamdi Azikiwe, Chinua Achebe, and Dora Akunyili, whose contributions have left indelible marks on Nigeria and the world. Its towns and villages are known for strong community bonds and progressive values that inspire excellence in every field. Anambra's potential lies not only in its natural and human resources, but in the unbreakable spirit of its people, a people who see every challenge as a call to greatness. With expanding infrastructure, digital transformation, and a thriving creative scene, the state stands poised to lead Nigeria into a new era of prosperity. It is a land where heritage meets ambition, where history fuels innovation, and where the light of progress never dims.
Ekene gị daalụ maka isonyela anyị abatakwa na nzukọ ụmụ nwanyị na Aneke TV ebe anyị na-akpa dịka o si wee masị anyị, ebe anyị na-akọ dịka o si wee dị anyị mma, akachacha n'ihe gbasara ezinụlọ, maka ọdịmma ezinụlọ, maka ọdịmma ọha obodo, maka na ihe ọbụla na-adịghị aga nke ọma ndị nne ada anọ na-enene ka ọ na-aga, ọ na-ewute anyị bụ ndị nne. Onye akpata mgbe ọbụla anyị bata na nzukọ ụmụ nwanyị, anyị na-etinye ọnụ na-atụnye alụ otu be anyị na obodo anyị ga-esi na-aga n'iru. Abụ m Ngozi Ọtahumele na nke tata onye mụ na ya na-eji itinye ọnụ n'okwu bụ onye nkụzi, onye nhazi, prịnsịpal, ya bụ onye na-elekọta, onye na-agbaziri ụmụaka onu. Oge ụfọdụ ana m ada ajụba, ịsịkwa m lụọ ọrụ nkụzi mma nlụkwa, ọ bụ na mahadum, ọ bụ na sekọndịrị, ọ bụ na ndị praịmarị mma nlụ, maka ịchịkọta ụmụaka dị afụtụbeghị m ọrụ dịka ya, mana nsogbu adịghị. Ha sị na ụgwọ ọrụ ha dị n'eluigwe, mana kịta anyị ekwetazi na ọ dị n'eluigwe. Onye ka m na-ekwu maka ya? O wee bụrụ Odoziakụ na Ọkpatakụ Ebere Esonwanne. Ebere Esonwanne ya bụ prịnsịpal CSS Agụobu Ụmụmba Eziagụ Local Government. Anyị na-asị gị nnọọ na nke tata. Daalụ maka iwepụta oge sonyela anyị na nkata anyị na-eje ịkpa tata. Dịka nsi wee kwuo, ihe anyị na-eji, ihe anyị chọọ ka anyị n'anya na ya bụ ihe dị iche ndị nkụzi na-alụ, ọlụ dị iche eji wee malụ ndị nkụzi. Ihe nji wee sị ka anyị tinye ọnụ n'okwu a bụ, a na-akwado imechi akwụkwọ. Ụfọdụ ndị nne na nna na-eti papa hei, ọ dị ha ka ọ si emechine. A na-akwado imeghe emeghe, ha na-aṅụrị si hei Chineke mee ka emeghezie ka ụmụaka pụba n'ụlọ. Na-ajụ, ọ na-afụzi anyị ụfụ na ahụ na anyị mụtara ụmụ kpata anyị ji achọ ịchụ n'ala ha ndị nkụzi. Biko, kedu ihe dị iche ndị nkụzi na-alụ kpatalụ ndị nne na nna ji achọ ụtụtụ ọkpọpụ ụmụaka oluo mgbe a ga-agbasasị hei ewu ọkụkwa na elekere 2 ọ bata akwa? Kedu ihe dị iche ndị nkụzi na-alụ dị?
Ndị nkụzi bụ ndị e nyere ọzụzụ pụrụ iche maka ịchịkọta ụmụaka. Onye ka o ji wee dị ka o nwere ihe ha ji wee na-ejide ụmụntakịrị a pụrụ iche, merụ na ndị parents na-ekwu okwu a ikwu ugbu a. Ndị parents ụfọdụ na-ekwu na ụmụ ha na-eritelu ha nri, na-eme mkpọtụ, na ha na-ekwe ha zuo ike. Onye ka o ji wee dị ka ha alaiki azụ ụmụaka, mana ha laikikwa ya, mana nsogbu ha na-enye ha. Ihe pụrụ iche ndị nkụzi na-alụ n'ndụ ụmụaka pụrụ iche, maka na ndị nkụzi ụdịrị omume ọbụla nwata na-eme, ndị nkụzi ga-ama ka ha ga-esi wee mee ya, nwata ahụ esi na omume ahụ wee pụta. Ndị nkụzi bụ ndị nchịkọta. O nwere nke nwa na-ezu oshi na skuulu m, ụlọ akwụkwọ m, ọ na-ewe ihe mmadụ, mana my teacher wee kwuo nwere ụdịrị promise ọ na-enyeghị ya, wee sị ya na ịkwụsị omume dị ụta na ị ga na-abịali ya holidays na be ya, just holidays, ka o ji wee merie onye nke ahụ. Otu a ka ndị nkụzi m si wee nwekwe, ma ndị nkụzi ebe dị iche iche si wee nwekwe ihe dị n'ime ha, ha ji achịkọta ụmụaka, especially ndị ahụ ọ dị ka omume ha lụrụ alụ, ha nwere ka ha si eme ya. Ndị nkụzi ụmụaka dị iche iche nwere ụdịrị ihe eji malụ ha. Otu ha nọ n'ime ụlọ ha a na-akpọ klaasị, nke a nwere ike bụrụ onye mkpọtụ, nke a nwere ike bụrụ onye gara ike iwere osisi lụọ mmadụ n'imi, nke a nwere ike ụdị alụlụ maana dị iche iche ụmụaka na-ada alụwa. Ụmụ alụlụ maana dị iche iche a ka parents na-afụ na be ha. O ji wee na-achọ ka ha kwa ha alụ ha ndị nkụzi, ka ọ ga-abụ mgbe ha lụrụ ọ bụrụ ndị nkụzi bụ ihe ha na-emeli ya, ha akazugodo ike. From 7:30 anwa ji eje skuulu tiele 2 o'clock eji agbasa, parents na-enwe aṅụrị. Okwu ikwuru adarọ n'aja, onye mere emebi ihe ị na-ekwu maka ya. Ha ga na-ekwu na ha na-enye ha nsogbu, ha ga na-ekwu na ha na-eriche nri ha, ụfọdụ asị na rice ha agwụgo, ụfọdụ asị na ha na-aṅụ garị, common garị. Parents a na-asị ka ebido skuulu, ka ha pụọ, ka ebido, ka ha jee na nsogbu ha karịrị. Ndị nkụzi nwunye na-akwarụ alụ ha, iji ọzụkwa na mmadụ ha bụ ibu ka ha bụ, mana ha na-anagide ya maka na ha nwere ọzụzụ pụrụ iche. Onye ka a na-akpọ training. Ndị nkụzi na-eje training. Mgbe izizi ya na-aga TTC, Teachers Training College, iche ụdị pụrụ iche ka ị wee na-anagide ihe ndị a niile. O nwere ụdị omume nwa akwụkwọ nwere dịcha ama ihe ọ ga-eme ọ ga-efugodo ụzọ mee ka anya oyi mana ndị mmadụ na-asị gwa m onye gị na ya na-ayị ka ya gwa ụdị omume ị na-eme mana ọ bụrụ ya bụ tichas ndị nkụzi ga-anagide nwatakịrị ahụ butie nso mee ka ya friend promise ya heaven and earth ka o wee nweta gịnị ihe ọ na-achọ. Gịnị bụ ihe ahụ ọ na-achọ? Mgbagwo n'isi nwata akwụkwọ ahụ. Onye ka o ji ewute na ụfọdụ ndị parents ụfọdụ chịrị ọgụ bịa na skuul si na atalụ nwa ya ihe nnọrọ ebe ahụ dịka ifu ka m ga-esi machapụta bulie n'isi ihe ọ ga-akọ osugodu m ya ka ọsụọ m ma m difendị eda ticha maka na ị machalụ nke bụ eziokwu mana ịchọzi ikwu eziokwu maka gịnị na atalụ nwa gị ụtalị.
Nke a bụ ajụjụ ọzọ ga-apụtakwa n'ụdị ichie maka na anyị ka ga-abịa ebe ahụ mana ihe m chọrọ ijugodo kịta anụnwa ihe a ndị nne na nna na-akwanyere ụmụ ha akwajere ha ndị nkụzi ọ dịghị ka ndị a ga-enwe nsọpụrụ n'ebe nne na nna ha nọ otu ha si wee nwee n'oyi maka ụmụ ụfọdụ ụmụaka ọ ga-abịa ịgwa ihe ọ sịghị na ọ bụghịkwa ihe a ka onye nkụzi m kwuo ọ bụghị otu ka onye nkụzi m si wee kwuo ya ọ dịghị ka ọ na-ama ndị na-emetụta ihe gbasara nne na ụmụ karịa otu ha na ndị nkụzi ha si wee nọrọ.
Ihe ikwuru bụ ihe bụ eziokwu maka na ụmụ akwụkwọ onye ka o ji dị mkpa na onye nkụzi ọbụla ga-amụ ihe ọ na-akụzilụ nwatakịrị maka na nke ahụ ịkụzirie bụkwa nke ọ bụ anahụ ihe ọzọ mama ya na-ekwuzikwe ma onye ọzọ na-ekwuzikwe ọ bụrụ okwu eziokwu. They used to speak English. That is not what my teacher taught me. Na ọ bụrụ kwa onye nkụzi m kụzielu m onye ka ndị nkụzi ga-ejije training pụrụ iche kọma ndị subject ị na-akụzi mara ihe ị na-akụzi maka na ihe ahụ ịkụzieli ihe abụghị ya ọkwa ya ka ovu ala ịkụzieli nke dị mma ọkwa ya ka ovu ala. So ifu na even my parents ọ na-ewute ya na nwa nke ha nwụrụ n'afọ ha adịghị ekwetezi ihe ha kwuru n'ozi nke ndị nkụzi bụ nke kacha nke ha kwuru ọ maka na ha nwere ntụkwasị obi n'ebe ndị nkụzi ha nọ ya ọ ga-abụ ihe mwute na ọ bụzi na ịgwa bụ onye nkụzi atụkwasịrị obi ewezilụ ihe nwata akwụkwọ ga-eji wee pụọ n'ihe o kwesịrị ịma ọ na-ebute ọya ka anyị bụ ndị prịnsịpal ji welu na aha ma n'isi ndị nkụzi anyị kwado lesin gị ọfụma mana ihe ị ga-agwa nwa akwụkwọ maka ihe ọbụla si n'ọnụ dapụ ha kọpigokwala ya kpọkwa ya ka ha ji aga. So anyị na-eti mkpu nke ahụ nnukwu ihe na-akwado lesin gị ọfụma ọ bụrụ ịbata iwelu akwụkwọ gị baba klaasị you think you can do it when you go there ịma mmenwe mana ọ bụrụ na ịkwado lesin ya na-akpọ lesin note gụọ ya ọfụma kwado ya ịbụ na klaasị ahụ ịmara ihe ị ga-akụzi and ihe ahụ ịkụzikwa na nwata ahụ wekweli epo ebe ọzọ ọ bụrụkwa na ihe dị mma ka ịkụzi. O nwere ụfọdụ echiche ma obodo oyibo ma ebe dị iche iche na-edeta akwụkwọ especially ime mistake na resọt ụmụaka. So onye ka o ji dị mkpa na gị nwa be ticha ga-eme ka ticha ọrụ nkụzi bụ ọrụ mmadụ ka gị na ya na-emekọ ọ dụrụ ka ndị na-alụ ọrụ oyibo ọzọ ọ bụ faịlụ ka ha na-emekọ mmadụ ka ị na-azụ onye ka o ji dị mkpa na azie ticha o nwee ticha nke nwa kpofuru ihe n'imi batalụ moto wee na-asị ya na eticha ekwesịghị ekwe ikpofu ihe n'imi
maka nwata akwụkwọ ya ga-enwe mmiri
ma nwata akwụkwọ ga-enwe mmiri gị ma ọ bụrụkwa fashọn ọbụla pụtara ka ị ga-enwomi as a teacher ma mmiri ị na-eyi ma nke ị na-eme ikwesịghị ekwe ị na-eme ya olu nkụzi anya ego adị ọkwa na ya mana dịka esi ikwu mana anyị jụziri na ụgwọ ụlọ anyị n'eluigwe mana anyị na-azụ ụgwọ ụlọ anyị anwa
ya gbadatasị akịta unu rie na akịta
wee jewe ya bụ ya n'igwe.
Daalụrị nne dịka isi wee metụbu aka achọrọ m ka anyị tinyeke n'ọnụ na ya bụ okwu ọ gịnị kpata ndị nkụzi ada apịazi ụmụaka ihe kịta anụnwa ọ gịnị kpatara ya maka ama m na mgbe ndị otu m tolu kedu ihe imetụ ihe na-adịghọ mma onye nkụzi pịa gị ihe ọ ga-apịa gị mana kịta abịazie na skuul ndị nkụzi isi ya na nwatakịrị ma onwe ihe gbasara ya ada ọ gịnị butere ụdị omume dị otu a?
Ndewo, okwu a bụ okwu akpụ n'ọnụ a na-amarụ ka a ga-esi mee. Ndị nkụzi anyị nwa bụ ndị nkụzi mgbe ụfọdụ ọ dịka ọ na anyị enwechara protekshọn, mana dịka m si gwa gị na mbụ na skuulu ọbụla nnọ ivuli bịa m ga-egosikwa gị na nnọ ma ọ bụ mụnwa ka a na-agwa ma ọ na ọ bụrụ m sọfa na ọchịcha m ga-apụta ebe ahụ tinye ọnụ m. Ihe kpatalịa bụ na ịbịa nwata akwụkwọ ihe parents awala ọgụ wee bịa sị ya iji pịa nwa m ife. Kedu ihe ị ga-eji pịa nwa m ife? Nwa m isolu m wee chịa ya mgbe a mụrụ ya ka ivu olu m ya 9 months. Ajụjụ ndị a ka a ga-ajụcha gị kpatara ndị nkụzi eji ezi apịa ụmụ ha ihe. Ọzọ dị ka ibie bụ na ibi ma parents o nwere alụmalụ ụka anyị lụrụ wee na-asị na ibi ngụnwa bụ parents ekwechighị ozi na-apịa nwa ha ihe. Anyị melie ebe anyị na-eji ekpere blessed assurance ha sị na anyị ekwesịghị ozi na-apịa ụmụ anyị ụtarị na anyị kwesịrị ị na-azụzi ka ndị ọcha. Wee sị ya me I dey beat my own na m ga-apịachakwa gị ụtarị gbachanye ego elu olet ma ọ na imete ihe especially mgbe a gwara gị ihe kpọbata ya n'ime ụlọ dụọ ọgwụ ndụmọdụ nke izizi dụọ gị ya ịbụọ dụọ gị ịtọ nke na-emekwa ohu ihe ahụ. Ihe o gosiri bụ na ịda anata ndụmọdụ. Anyị wepụ ndị nkụzi na-eyuzu different methods of teaching. Ime nke ọgwụ ọkụ ime nke ọzọ ime ya ọ bụ na ọ gaghị ime nke ọzọ ụta ka esi azụ onye ka anyị ji wee na-enweta ndị ahụ a na-akpọ ndị ọ na-afịa ahụ ịmụta ihe izu metọdụ nke a kụzie okwe ha izuo nke a izuo nke a nwe nke ị ga-eyuzu nwatakịrị enwe ike wee kapchọọ ya
maka ihe niile abụghị iti ihe.
Ihe niile abụrụ iti ihe onye ka anyị ji welu na-eme otu ahụ maka ihe ndị parents ọgwụ ahụ ndị parents na-awa abịa mere onye ọbụla ji wee si ka
ya mechakwala onwe ya. Mana ihe a na-emekeri na ụlọ akwụkwọ bụ ndị mmadụ nwe ọ dị ka onwe ihe gọọmenti kwesịrị ime n'ụdị maka ụlọ akwụkwọ ndị nke ọ bụ gọọmenti nwe gọọmenti na-akwụ ndị nkụzi ụgwọ a na-apịa ụmụ akwụkwọ ihe ebe ahụ ọ dị ka onwe ihe gọọmenti kwesịrị ịlụ n'ụdị ihe dị otu anụnwa.
Gọọmenti kwesịkwara itinye anya n'ụmụ skuulu ọ bụ ndị mmadụ nwe maka ihe na-eme na ya bụ skuulu dị ime kuru nwa n'aka bụkwara ya n'azụ maka gịnị ihe na-achọ bụ nnukwu ụmụ akwụkwọ
ka eju
ka ebe ya wee pụta ha dịrị afta ihe a na-akụzi ma ihe dị mma a na-eme ihe ga-agwa gị mụnwa bụ onye a agago n'ụdịrị ụlọ akwụkwọ ahụ kụzie ya o nwere ụdịrị ihe na-afụghọ n'ụdịrị skuulu dị otu ahụ maka na a ga-asị gị achụkwanala m
nwata akwụkwọ m
kekwa ha na-akwụ 100,000 naira
sọsọ ihe ọ chọrọ agwụcha ego ahụ na-akatị ya n'akpa
ọ chọghọ na nwatakịrị ahụ ma ọ gụchakwa ma ọ ga-abụkwa mmadụ ma ọ dị n'iru nke ahụ agbasara ha ego ahụ ga-abanye n'akpa mgbe ahụ ka ọ chọrọ ọ ga-asị gị abịakwa n'ụtarị agbakwa na mba ka ụmụaka wee hafụ ya skuul adị ịnwa anwa pịa ụtarị baa mba tomorrow parents abịa kpokọrọ ụmụaka ahụ fụọ ifu na ihe ahụ ha na-agwa gị emego.
Mana dịka onye nkụzi nọgolo na nke a nọ na nke a ọ dịghị ka ezigbo ihe bụ ihe a
ọ bụrụ na ezigbo ihe na mụnwa bụ onye a o nwere onye nke mama ya bịarụ mgbe m na-akụzi na one school achọghị m ịkpa afa skuulu ahụ mgbe m na-akụzie nwatakịrị wee bịa mama ya wee bịa mụnwa ka ọ chọtara ihe mmelụ nwa ya ha mpịalụ nwa ya ụtarị ihe praktikal ka anyị na-eme ya ama m ihe nwatakịrị ahụ m gwara ya ogote ihe ọzọ esi ọkwa m gwara ụnụ agba maka na ụnụ achọghị ka ọ bụ tichagoo ya ụnụ na-asọspekt ndị nkụzi ọbụla so ụnụ ji aka ụnụ je na-egotie na ihe ngwa egotere m ije gote ihe ọzọ wee sị ya na ị ga-egochikwa ya ọnụ ka nka jikwa ekwu ya o gochibekwa ya nwatakịrị ruo gba mama ya maka n'ọnụ ụlọ akwụkwọ ndị mmadụ nwe ka m na-akụziri ihe ahụ na mịa wee wara ọgụ wee bịa
n'okwu ọnụ nkịtị m kwuru mgbe o rutezi wee fụ n'ọmụnwa antị ọgụnwa o wee bụla ntị nọ n'ime ntị antị ọmụnwa nwesa n'ọmụ gịnị ọkọwazi n'ọkwa ọgụ ka ya walụ bịa mana anyị elutezie wee fụ n'ọmụnwa ike wee gụ ya ọ bụ na mmọnwụ na-abịa itinye karịrị ya
ọkakwa mma na ike bụrụ gị n'ịma na nwa ga-abụrụ na onye m ga-emejọ ama m ebe ibi malụ gụnwa malụ papa malụ mama na-akụzikweli ya
mana ịma njinu maka na ịma ha hafụ ime ihe kwesịrị ime
si na onye nwa ọchị m na ya anawakwa si na ọkakwa mma na ịnawala otu a ka anyị ji wee mechie isiokwu nke ahụ so a na-emekeli na ụlọ akwụkwọ ọ bụ ndị mmadụ nwe mana ọ dịrọ mma gọọmenti kwesịrị ịbata wee na-enyonya anya n'ihe na-eme n'ụdịrị ụmụ akwụkwọ ahụ maka ihe parents na-eme ndị nne na nna anyị na-eme ha ji eme gai nwa m nọ private school
eji eko
nwa m nọ private ifu onye nke nọ na nke gọọmenti onye nke ahụ bụ ha enweghị ihe a dara ụbịa ajọkwarụ kwaliti ihe a na-eme dị ya n'ụlọ nọ
nke a wee na-ekwu ụfọdụ ụlọ akwụkwọ ahụ ndị mmadụ nwe ha enwere ụdị ndị nkụzi gọọmenti nwe maka ụfọdụ ihe a na-afụ ebe ahụ bụ ndị anaba aghalụ eji satifiketi eji họ satifiketi ihe ama bụ onye nkụzi bata n'ụlọ akwụkwọ dịka onye tọgolo atọ na nkụzi ọ dịghị ka ọ bụ ihe kwesịrị ịdị na-eme
iji okwu a nnọlugodu na bọs ebe ọbụla nnọ ihe a bụ okwu akpụ n'ọnụ na-ekwu maka na mma na m na-ekwu okwu ihe ọsọkwalụ gị bụrụ ụdị moto ọsọkwalụ gị na-agba ọnụ ma ikwughele nke abụghị ya m ga-asa gị ya ụlọ akwụkwọ bụ mmadụ nwe ndị nkụzi ha na-akpọta anaghị ezu ezu na asambodo ha ji maka ndị ha na-akpọta bụ ndị ha ga-enwenwu ike ịkwụnwu ụgwọ onye ji nzere mmụta nke a na-akpọ doctorate degree ọ ga-akụzikwa n'ụlọ akwụkwọ mmadụ nwe
ọ ga-akwụnwu ya ụgwọ
ma onye nke ji nke a na-akpọ masters degree ihe ha na-eji bụ ndị agụchalụ secondary school ka na-achọcha mbụ ha ga-enene bụ ndị ha na-ewekeli n'ụlọ ọrụ ha
ndị ha
ga-akwụ 15,000
ụfọdụ 10,000
adọrọ m shọ na ha na-akwụzu 20,000 maka ndị mmegolo interview mfụ na ego ha dị elu ego ahụ ha na ebe ahụ wee na-eche akwụkwọ ine n'ule ha ga-eji wee banye university.
Kedụzi ihe ha na-akụnye n'ụmụ anyị a ndị anọ n'ụlọ akwụkwọ ahụ maka onwe onye nke na m jụrụ ụlọ akwụkwọ na-aga ọkpọrọ m ofu ụlọ akwụkwọ o wee suo oyibo ọ sụrụ asị m ya what is your name ọkpa afịa nsị a ka ahụ ụlọ akwụkwọ gị ọkpa afọ ụlọ akwụkwọ ya nsị a kedu ebe unu bi ọ sị m I am live at wee na-enye anya nsị a na-ajụ gị kedu ebe ibi iwee sụbalụ m oyibo oyibo anyị sụrụ amaka ọ sị m auntie said we should be spoken English wee ji nwa akwarụ ngwongwo m hafụ nwatakịrị ya wee na ma na okwu agwụ na onwe ihe njete m wee na-ajụ ọ gịnị kedu ebe mmiri si wee baa n'opi ụgbọgịrị kpatalụ ndị oge gboo ụlọ akwụkwọ ndị mmadụ nwedị ka ọha nwabụ ihe ka gbagote elu karịa nke ndị gọọmenti mana ọ dịzị ka kịta anụnwa onye tete n'ụtụtụ o je mepe ebe a na-akụzi nkụzi kedu ụdị na ụmụ akwụkwọ a na-ewepụtara anyị kịta ọ dịghị ka onye a na-emetụ ọ bụla onye nwe ọ sịghị na-emetụ the standard of education anyị
standard of education anyị bidokwelu n'isi ya sawa ma ndị nọ n'isi ma ndị nọ n'ọdụ ma ndị nwe skuulu nke ha nwe sokwe wee na-eme ka ọ na-ada maka na dịka ndị ụlọ akwụkwọ anwa ndị ọ bụ ndị mmadụ nwe anaghị ajụcha ihe onye gụrụ
tupu ha ewelu
ha nọ nke ọ ga-akwụnwu ụgwọ ị nwere ike ihu onye gụrụ akwụkwọ a na-akpọ social studies Ofini a ga-akụziwa English enye ya. Onye ahụ amara ihe a na-akpọ rule of concord. Iwu ji oyibo ụmụ iza nwe agreement verb ahụ ọ gaghị ame ya.
Ọ
na-asụzi. Anọghị ahụ bụ ihe ji English. Mgbe gị nwa na-ama ya as a teacher.
Gịnịzi ka ị ga-akụziri onye nka?
Enwe nwata akwụkwọ ị na-akụziri. Onye ka o ji wee na-afịa ahụ. O ji wee dị mkpa na ọ bụrụgodu ni o nwekwa skuulu dị elu o. Ọ bụ mmadụ nwe.
N'eziokwu.
Enwe ihe a na-achọ bụ degree holder. And degree holder ahụ ihe ịgụrụ ka ị ga-akụzi. Like spring of life. Ije exam ebe ahụ ị na-edele onwe gị ihe. Ụmụakwụkwọ a na-edele dị ma English and Maths. Because they have qualified qualified teachers.
Ka anyị jide ebe a. Gị bụ onye ọma na-esonyela anyị, chetakwa na ihe anyị na-akpa bụ ihe dị iche ndị nkụzi na-eme n'ọzụzụ ụmụaka. Kpatala onye nne na onye nna. Sọsọ ihe ọ na-ekpe ekpere bụ ụlọ akwụkwọ ọ ga-ebidokwe ka ya kpọpụ ụmụaka ka ha si n'ụlọ pụọ ka isi juo onye oyi. Ụmụ anyị ọ na-aghasa anyị isi. Onye mụ na ya na-akpa bụkwa Ebere eso nwanne. Ka anyị ṅụọ mmiri gbatị ụkwụ, ọ bụ na anyị nachite azụ anyị na-aga n'iru. A sị na ekwe kụọ ama agba. Ekwe ụmụ nwaanyị akụọla o. Ọkwa na nzukọ ụmụ nwaanyị oge anyị ji akpa maka ọdịmma anyị karịkwa maka ọdịmma ezinụlọ. Nzukọ ụmụ nwaanyị bụ ebe anyị na-akpa maka arụike anyị, ndọrọ ndọrọ ọchịchị, azụmahịa, omenala ndị ahụ dị mma nakwa ihe ndị ahụ ga-eweta ọganihu n'obodo. Naanị ihe ị ga-eme bụ sonyela anyị na nzukọ ụmụ nwaanyị ebe ahụ a na-akarị ihe na-eweta ọganihu n'obodo. Ndị nne, ndị nna, oge a bụkwa nke anyị. Sonyela anyị na Aneke TV n'ebe a na-emetụ aka na ihe ndị oyibo na-akpọ social media na TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram. Ọkwa na Aneke TV ka ihe ndị a niile na-eme. Aneke TV, anyị apụọnụ. Ekene gị dịka ị ka na-esonyela anyị. Tupu anyị eje gbatị ụkwụ, ihe anyị na-ene anya bụ ihe dị iche ndị nkụzi na-eme n'ọzụzụ ụmụaka. Dịka onye mụ na ya na ebe a bụ onye nkụzi bụkwa prịnsịpal si wee kwuo, Ebere eso nwanne si wee kwuo, ama m na ọ dị ọtụtụ ihe nke ịghọtara n'okwu ọ na-ekwu. Maka oge ụfọdụ ọzụzụ ụmụ anyị adịka anyị na-akwanarị ya ndị nkụzi ifugo n'ihe eji wee hapụ ya, ọ dịka na-akwanarị ya ndị nkụzi. Odoziaka Ebere, echetara m otu ihe menụ onwe ọ bụrụ unu asị na ụmụ assignment enye onwe ihe a na-eji ana assignment enye nwa m nwaanyị mgbe ọ nọ skuul. Mbịa na-akụziri ya dịka onye nne, ọ sị m mba na ọbụkwa ihe aka ticha kwuru na ọbụkwa ihe aka ticha kwuru na otu aka ticha si wee kwuo ya. Nne anya ọ bụrụ na ọ bụchaghị ihe o kwesịrị ịbụ, nsị a na-abụghị m onye nkụzi, mana nne anya na ihe a na ọ bụchaghị otu a, ị mana nwa m nwaanyị jụ sị m na ọ bụghị ihe a ka onye nkụzi kwuru na nke ọ ga-eme bụ nke onye nkụzi kwuru. Mgbe na-ajụ biko ụdị ọnọdụ a nọrọ, kedu ihe m kwesịrị ime asị onye nne?
Ihe ị kwesịrị ime azị onye nne dịka anyị si lụtụbu aka n'ihe ahụ na nke onye nkụzi kụziri adịrọ mma. Ọ bụrụ dịka nọọ maasị bụ ihe anwa maọbụ nọọ English maọbụ sọbjekt ọbụla, iwelugodo ihe anwa wee wejelu ticha gụrụ maka sọbjekt ahụ si ya na-egodu ihe mụ na nwa m na-eje, na-egodu ihe m gwara ya, na-egodu ihe ọ gwara gị, ọ gwaghị nke bụ eziokwu. Ọ bụrụ na ọ gwara gị, ọ bụrụ na nke gị anwa bụ ihe bụ the answer, the correct answer ihe anwa, ị kwesịrị ịgawa na ụlọ akwụkwọ anwa. Mana ịga ịma bụ ụzọ jekwuru onye nkụzi anwa were gwawa ya ịmara akwụkwọ negodo ihe na-akụziri ụmụaka, ị na-edufe ụmụaka ụzọ, ị ga-eburugodo ya bụ ihe anwa wee jekọsalụ onye bụ onye isi ụlọ akwụkwọ. Ọ bụrụ dịka nọọ headmiss ma ọ nọọ secondary school principal, iwere ya bụ repọtụ ijekwuru principal si ya negodo ihe onye akụziri nwa gị, ihe gị na nwa gị jere. ozugbo ị na-agwa ha anya principal amagolu na nsogbu adịgo ehe ọ ga-akọlụ the attention of that teacher jụọ ya ajụjụ ụfọdụ na-eji asambodo mmadụ welu bata ka ewelu ha n'ọrụ welu na-aza afa ọ bụrụ ihe ọ gụrụ so ozi oke na ọrụ dị ọrụ ya bụ onye isi ịmazi ma ticha ahụ agụkwara ihe ahụ ọ sị na ọ gụrụ maka mụnwa kwekọrịtara na ticha ọbụla gụrụ ihe ọ gụrụ otu a ihe ngụrụ agụụ biology agụụ m food and nutrition o nwere subject ị ga-ewetara ma topic ị ga-eweta ama ka m ga-esi welụzaa ya mana onye ahụ ọ bụ asambodo mmadụ ka o ji ihe na-eme bụ ụgwọ ọnwa ga na-akwụkwọ ya ụgwọ ihe ọ ga na-eme ikekwe bụ na ọ chọgidego ọrụ omeghe edukeshọn ojehụ dat trenin weta nke mmadụ wee mee so ị ga-ejegodu n'ụlọ akwụkwọ ahụ kọsara onye isi ụlọ akwụkwọ ka e wee nwee ike kpọọ ihe anwa ga-edunekwe onye ahụ ijeru maka na ọmahụ niile ọha na-akụzi mgbe ụfọdụ na mmadụ na-abụ wetara ụdịrị rịpọtụ ahụ ịmara na nsogbu adịghị maka na ọ ga na-aghasali ya
ihe daalụrị nne ihe ọzọ m chọrọ ịjụ gị bụ biko dịka m si wee kwuo ihe dị iche ndị nkụzi na-eme o ji wee dịka ọha nwa bụ ihe kacha azụ ụmụaka n'echiche nke gị ịbụ nwaanyị ịbụ onye nne bụrụ onye nkụzi kedu ndị ọ dị ka ọha bụ ihe ga-ebido ọzụzụ ụmụ anyị ọ ndị nne ka ndị nkụzi maka oge ụfọdụ ifu nwatakịrị dị arọ ịbụa ụfọdụ na-adụ otu arọ na ihe mara ya n'elu akwabenye ya n'ụlọ akwụkwọ o si n'ụlọ pụọ biko kedu ebe ọzụzụ kwesịrị ibido ọ n'ụlọ ka ọ n'ụlọ akwụkwọ
ọzụzụ ụmụ anyị kwesịrị ibido n'ụlọ maka na o nwere ọzụzụ dị iche iche nwetara ọ bụ n'aka nne m ka m ji wee nweta ya ihe a na-akpọ informal education ọ n'aka nne na nna ka ọ na-ebido o nwere ihe nne na nna kwesịrị ịkụziri nwa ya bifo nwa ya nwee ruo ogo ịbanyerezi skuul mana amụtụghere na enwe onye nke nwa elu dị 9 months di ya na-ekwe ka olu onwe nọọsịa na ị na-ekwukwere onwe gị ọ chọghị stress mana ọ chọrọ nwa ọ chọrọ ịkwabalị ya ndị nkụzi ka ha jezowe ya ndị nkụzi a na-emekwe n'ike ha na-eme ike ha na-azụkwanụ mana ọzụzụ kwesịrị ibido na nne na nna o nwere ọzụzụ nke ga-esite na nne o nwere ọzụzụ nke ga-esite na nna mana ụfọdụ ha hapụchi ya niile kwaghazialịa ndị nkụzi ka ọ bụrụ ha zụwalụ ọnya kpatalụ ụmụ ihe mpụ na arụgọ na ihe niile na-eme na ụmụaka anyị ugbu a ji wee na-eme maka na nne enyeghị ọzụzụ o kwesịrị inye dịka nne nna enyeghị ọzụzụ o kwesịrị inye dịka nna ụfọdụ ga-asị gị na ọ ka bụ nwata na ọ ka bụ nwata o nwekwana ihe ọma biko ọhaneze na-anụ olu m from day one nwa ịmụrụ nwa gị ọ na-aṅụ ala eme nte eme ime nyewekwa ya bụ ọzụzụ a sịkwana na ọ bụ nwata ọ ga-anụ ya onye kpatalụ nwatakịrị na-aṅụ ala taa mama ya alụ n'ala mama ya daa mba ọ na-ama ọ ga-enega anya n'iru mgbe ahụ ịbalụ mba otu ahụ ka ọ dị n'ebe ndị ọzọ dị iche iche o nwere ihe ọ ga-abụ eme ụfọdụ eji m aka apịa ndị nke m mpelu mpe weta nsa aka na-apịa ka ọ marụ na ihe o merụ adịrọ mma ọ ga-ebe akwa ọpụ na ọfụ ya mana ọ ga-ebe akwa maka na ọ maalụ na ọ bụrụ daalụ ka ị gwara ya na kọrekshọn ka ị na-enye ya
mbọchị ọzọ mma mmekwa ihe dị otu
bikos na ọ magolu na ọ na-etikweli ya ụtalị ma ọ na gramma tikweli ụtalị mbọchị ya mere ya o bido na nwata ahụ onye bido na nwata ahụ ma onye ga-anyịsa mamịrị ịbalị ya mba mgbe mamịrị gụbakwara ya na ndị apelu mpe ị ga na-afụ ụdịrị saịn ọ ga na-enye ha ncha bụ ọzụzụ so ọzụzụ kwesịrị ibido na nne na nna anyị bifo akpọzila ụmụntakịrị anwa wee gawa n'ụlọ akwụkwọ
daalụrị nne nwantọntọ ajụjụ a m chọrọ ịjụ bụ ihe gbasara anụ lesin a na-eme kịta kedu ihe kpata ndị nkụzi ji ahapụ mgbe ha ga-akụziri ụmụaka ihe a na-eche ka time lesson luo ọ maka ego a na-enye ha extra ka ọ maka gịnị ka ezi ka lesson si wee dịbazịa ọ dịzịa ka onye akazi nkụzi a na-akụziri ụmụaka
ndewo ị na-anya na skuulu ọ bụ ndị gọọmenti nwe ha mechiri lesson ebe ị ga na-afụkarị ihe dị otu a bụ na skuulu ọ bụ ndị mmadụ nwe maka na ihe a na-akwụ ha pere mpe na lesson ahụ ka ha belivuzili ha ji welu na emeki ọpụ ego ha ji azụ ụmụ ha onye nwe ụlọ akwụkwọ ahụ nwere oke nke ndị nkụzi na onwe ha nwere oke nke ha onye ka o ji dịka otu a nọ mbụ onye isi ụlọ akwụkwọ ma ifiri mgbe m na-abụghị ya mbụ ordinary teacher I am against lesson.
maka ihe na-akụzi ha nwatakịrị mgbe ahụ from elekere 8 ma gịnị ka mkpọnye elekere 8 wee luo wee kụọ elekere 20 ọ gịnị bụ ihe ahụ ị ga-akụziziri ya
jụọnụ m o kwesịghị maka na mgbe anyị gụrụ ọ na-abụ anyị gbasaa ana nwee ihe a na-akpọ siesta zuo ike brain gị zuo ike before ịchọzi ịgụ akwụkwọ n'onwe gị ịgụọ mgbe ahụ ị na-agụ ya ị na-enweta aghọta ihe ị na-agụ ụmụ akwụkwọ ugbu a ebele ha na-eme m maka ha ga-esi from 8 o'clock ahụ skuul agbasa 2 ebe 3 ebido lesson ha nata ike agwụ ha onwezi mgbe ha ga-eji welu gụzie akwụkwọ ahụ ka ihe anwa nọ na ihe ndị oyibo na-akpọ short term memory ka onwe ike baa na long term memory maka na mgbe a kụzichara ya onye nkụzi kụzichee ị na-anabe nzuche ike gụgasịa ihe ahụ akụziri gị onwe ike banye mana ọ dịrị otu ahụ ugbu a lesson anakọgolo ihe niile ụmụ anyị ada agụzi akwụkwọ
maka na ebe ndị nkụzi si enweta nke ha ndị nne na nna ụfọdụ chọkwara ya ọ bụkwa maka ego ha na-akwụ maka ụfọdụ ndị nne na nna oluo mgbe ga-ejebuneta ụmụ akwụkwọ ọ dị ya ka onye nọ kwuo mgbe ọ gụchakwa wee mee lesson mgbe ahụ chi ejie o jezie ejekpọnata isi eju onye oyi na-ajụzi onwe m biko nọ ọ gịnị ka a ga-eme ndị nne ọ dị gị ka onwe ndụmọdụ ị ga-adụ ndị nne akachacha ndị nwere ụdị echiche a ndị aka anụnwa na ụtụtụ ịkpọpụ nwatakịrị mgbe ị ga-eji jekpọnata ya bụ mgbede
ndụmọdụ nwekwara ịdụ ndị nne bụ ihe niile gasara agasa ọ bụrụ mgbe gboo nwaanyị anụọ di a na-eduji ọzụzụ o jee nwụọ ka esi akụziri ụmụaka na ka esi anụ di na nwunye na ka ị ga-esi jikọnata ụmụaka gị na ka ị ga-esi sie nke ụtụtụ nye sie nke efifie nye sie nke abalị nye ka agụụ hafe ego nwa gị mana ụfọdụ ndị nne achọghịzi ịma ihe amalụba ego ụfọdụ ga-apụ very early in the morning bụ ndị na-eme biznes nnata ha 9 o'clock mgbe ụmụaka lachagoro ụla gwazie mgbe ha ji enye ha ọzụzụ so ndụmọdụ nne enye ndị nne bụ na ha welugodo ụmụ ha ahụ malụ na n'Chukwu nyere ha ụmụ o nwekwara ndị na-achọ ụmụ ahụ na-enwetaghị mana Chukwu enye gị ya ị na-ezi akpachapụrụ ha anya investment gị bụ ụmụ gị ahụ obodo oyibo ya ahụ bụ ụmụ gị ahụ maka na ọ bụrụ na ijiri nwayọọ zụọ ha kpachapụ aka n'anya zụọ ha mgbe ahụ ike ga-agwụzi gị ịfụ na ụmụaka ahụ ga na-azụzi gị n'elekere ọtụtụ ndị na-akpachapụ aka n'anya zụọ ụmụ ha mgbe ahụ ike gwụzila ha ha ka ga na-atakwa ahụhụ maka na ha azụtaghị ụmụ ha ka ha ga-esi welu zụbazie nne ha o nwere onye ihe okwu anyị na-ekwu na bọs mbọsị anyị na-eje ọrụ owu nwaanyị wee sị na ya rụchakwa ọrụ retaya n'ọkwa ụmụ ya ga-abụ na-enwezikwa ọrụ ọzọ ya na-eje ịlụ ndị a na-azị ka ha jee egodo n'afọ na-abata na ya ma afọ ga na-abata n'ọkwa ụmụ ya ga-abụ penshọn ya n'ọkwa ya ga-abụ mana onye nke ịzụrụ na ọfụma
bụ ihe ga-abụ
penshọn gị. Mana ọ bụrụ na ịzụrụ ya ọfụma ihe ọ chọrọ ọ na-eme o jee skuul ọma nnata na skuulu na be m dị ebe eni o nwere ụmụaka m fụrụ ha fụta parents echegoro na ha ejewe skuul ha bịa na ya adị na-eche onye na-eje akwụkwọ baite pasa ka nsị na mfụkwa ụlọ ọzọ akpọọlụ m unu fada mgbodi ile ọ bịa chịkọrọ unu ebe a parents ha azụrụ ha ọhụma maka ọ bụ na azụrụ ha ọfụma egwu ama nke ha kwesịrị ijebe dafu n'olube mmadụ hafu skuul parents chekwa na ha nọ na skuul na ha ama ha nọ na ya dị so ụdị ozu dị otu ahụ nwere ka ọ dị and o bidoro na mbụ enyeghị nwa ọzụzụ ikwesịrị inye mgbe ọ na-eto ọnya melụ o ji welu dịrị otu a so ndụmọdụ na-enye ha bụ biko bido n'oge from 1 year nwa gị dị nyewe ezumazụ anyị si na ọka bụ obere nwa.
Gị bụ onye ọma na-enene anyị ama m na onwe otu ihe ma ọ bụ abụọ ịghọta n'ihe anyị kwuru maka na ihe o ji dịka ndị nkụzi ọdịiche bụ na ụdị egwu ụmụ akwụkwọ na-atụ ha ịchọ ha n'ime nwatakịrị ihe si ya m ga-agwa onye nkụzi gị ọ bụrụ ndị na-asụ oyibo ọsị I'll report you to your teacher egwu aba nwatakịrị ahụ arụ mgbe nye aka nji wee chee ịma ihe dị iche ndị nkụzi na-eme ụnụ ahụgonie site n'ọnụ Odoziakụ Ebere Eso Nwanne dụkwazịa ndị nne na nna ọdụ bidokwe n'oge lụba nke gị maka ibido n'oge lụba nke gị ọ ga-adabakwala anyị. Daalụ nne Odoziakụ Ebere Eso Nwanne maka isonyere anyị na nke taa. Ama m na mgbe ọzọ m ga-akpọ gị na ị ga-abịa mana nwantịntị okwu ke ndụmọdụ ị ga-adụkwa na onye nkụzi na-enene anyị. Ndụmọdụ ị ga-adụ onye nkụzi dịka onye nkụzi bụ kedu ndụmọdụ ị ga-adụ onye nkụzi maka ụfọdụ a na-emetekwu ya ma ikwenye ha ụfọdụ a na-emetekwu ya ke ndụmọdụ ị ga-adụ ndị nkụzi na-ada emeti ya maka onwe ndị na-emeti ya ndị nkụzi na-ada emeti ya
ugbu a ka ị bịara maka na itinyeburu m na nsogbu aghọtachara m ihe ị chọrọ ikwu ndị nkụzi na-ada emeti ya ndụmọdụ nwere inye ha bụ ha jisi ike mewe ya ijelu ọzụzụ maka ya ijine na ego a na-akwụ anyị maka ihe ga na-anụ ha na-ekwu ego a na-akwụ anyị okwe na ihe a na-akwụ ndị nkụzi okwe na ihe a na-eme nke ọzọ mana ọ bụrụ ya ụgwọ ọrụ dị n'eluigwe nke a na-akwụrọ gị n'ụwa chaa aka gọli ya n'eluigwe maka na ịrụ ọrụ gị otu isi kwesị ịlụ ya n'ụwa ụgwọ ọrụ gị dịkwa ebe ahụ mana ọ bụrụ na ị lụrụ ya otu isi kwesị ịlụ ya ị ga-azakwa azụzụ ya. Amaara m mgbe m nọ skuulu anyị Girls Grammar School Ọkụnanọ Girls late Mrs. Nwaọzọ ga-asị gị go and teach these students, they are your children, they are your children, teach them. Ya bụ ihe balụmọntị nwa bụ onye nkụzi ana m anagidekwe klaasị ma eji ya jikwelu skimu enyelu m welu na-akụzie ya bụ ụmụ m pụkwa jee exam ha na-eme ọfụma maka gịnị na nkụzi. So onye nkụzi ọbụla na-ege anyị ntị biko enene anya Sullivan mba si mgbodi ile si omeghe nke ọzọ enene anya rụwa ọrụ lụsiwe ọrụ ike gị bụ onye nkụzi na-ege m ntị rụwa ọrụ lụsiwe ọrụ ike maka na nwa ahụ ezụrụ a sị na ofu onye ada azụ nwa ahụ ezụrụ nwere ike ịbụ onye ga-azọpụta gị n'ọdịnihu ọ na-eme onwe ike nwatakịrị nọkọta otu a ike bring your account number okwunyere gị ego ọ bụrụ na imejọli ya na ịkụziri eli ọfụma mgbe ọ nọ na skuul ọ ma ngwa gị ihe dị otu a. So gị bụ onye nkụzi na-ege anyị ntị jisi ike na-alụ ọrụ gị ma akwụrụ ụgwọ ụgwọ ma akwụrụ ọgwụ ụgwọ na-alụ ọrụ gị na-alụsie ike na-alụ ihe ị kwesịrị ịlụ.
Daalụ nne. O wee bụrụ ebe a ka anyị na-ekpokọta nke izu ụka Odoziakụ Ebere Eso Nwanne ana masị gị daalụ nne maka isonyere anyị. Ama m na mgbe ọzọ m ga-akpọkwa gị na ị ga-abịa maka ikwuru okwu dịka prịnsịpal onye a na-ekwu bụ prịnsịpal CSS Agụobu Ụmụmba Eziagụ Local Government Area. Daalụ rinne na ọzụzụ na-enye ụmụ anyị. Ama m na onye ọbụla gere anyị ntị nwee otu ihe ma ọ bụ abụọ ọ mụta n'ebe ị nọ.
Daalụ.
Ọ bụrụ na ị sonyela anyị na nke taa na ihe anyị na-eme na-amasị gị, sonyela anyị n'ebe anyị na-emetụ aka, ọ bụrụ ndị oyibo ọsọ gị na soshal midia, ebe ọ ga-abụ ihe ọbụla a na-eme na mba ọbụla ị nọ n'ụwa niile ị na-ahụ ihe anyị na-eme na Facebook anyị na Aneke TV, na YouTube na Aneke TV, ọ bụ na TikTok o. Afọ ọbụla abalị ihe ị ga-eme bụ pịa Aneke TV ka ị sonyela anyị. Onwe alụ ị ga-atụnyela anyị ịtụnyela anyị, maka na nke a bụ nke anyị. Abụ m Ngozi Ọtahumele, ka emesịanụ.
Security is not just police on patrol. It is safety in homes, schools, markets, and mines. Without it, progress is impossible. Be alert, report danger, support community watch. True security is collective responsibility.
Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, O42, and a big thank you for joining us this morning on Sunrise. You're tuned into Sunrise on Aneke TV, where every sunrise begins with delightfulness, begins with purpose and joy. And of course, bringing you today's delightfulness, I am Deborah Wakaba, coming to you live from our studio here in Vibrant Enugu.
And good morning to you, our global audience. I'm Uche Osai. Wherever you are, at home, in your office, or in traffic, thank you for letting us into your space this beautiful morning. We're here to refresh, inform, and motivate.
Yes, and it's Tuesday, 27th January 2026. And of course, we've got that power-packed morning for you today here on Sunrise, where we've got the latest news, our weather report, and of course, that special sunrise vibe to help us begin our day.
So, grab that cup of coffee or tea, relax, enjoy the cruise, because the sunrise is here.
Yes, and on Sunrise today, we'll be starting things off with our quote of the day, with words that are thoughtful, words that are inspiring, and words that offer insight to whatever we do to keep us well-focused, stay driven, and be motivated.
Then, it's straight into the desktop headline. All the key news update that you need to remain informed will be shared, hot, and tasty.
Yeah, and after that, we'll be giving you our full weather forecast for today, covering cities across the southeast, so you'd know what to expect before stepping out, or if you've stepped out already, it is to keep you throughout the rest of the day.
And let's wrap things up by bringing you the sports oracle and our business news update.
All right, now let's move over to our morning show inspiration segment. Our morning show inspiration segment is coming from Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, who is a renowned Nigerian economist, a global development expert, and international leader. And in her quote today, she said, "I believe that when you find problems, you should also find solutions." Today's quote coming from Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala that said, "I believe that when you find problems, you should also find solutions." Now, when Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala says when you find problems, you should find solutions, she's reminding us that it's not enough to only complain or point out what's wrong. Anyone can identify a problem, but the real leadership and maturity shows when you also think creatively, take responsibility, and work towards fixing it. And also is also calling on responsibility and action. So in simple terms, this quote is encouraging us to be problem solving, not blaming, to also act instead of complaining, and also that ownership and accountability, especially in leadership and our everyday life, it is a call to move from "this is wrong" to "here is what we can do to make it better." Mr. Ucha, I would like to know your own take.
All right. Looking at this quote from Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, we know Ngozi is a very renowned and pragmatic leader, especially in the world of economics, where currently she is heading the World Trade Organization. So when an individual like this speak, I tend to pay more attention to her and what she's telling us this morning. You look at the quotes, and she's saying, "I believe that when you find problems, you should also find solutions." And it takes me to look at people who have been successful, and perhaps this is why she is a successful person today. Look at all the successful people you know in the world. They are solution providers.
Yeah.
And I tell you, wherever you find a problem, it takes a keen observer and a keen eye to know that there lies solution. So in seeing a problem, do not be the complainant, leading a life where you feel a life of victimhood where you complain about the challenges, the problem. What is the solution to that problem? And there may lie your opportunity to greatness. So instead of complaining in any given situation, what do? Look inward, the solution may be there. So don't play the victim card, find a solution to that problem. And I bring it to workplace. A lot of individuals complain about what is not working without asking themselves, what can I contribute to make this situation better? That's what Ngozi is telling us this morning, that you should be a problem solver, a solution provider. And I look at people like Dangote. What did Dangote really do in the Nigerian market? Dangote took opportunity of solving problems. And let's start from the last of his investments, or the Dangote refinery, so to speak. What did he do? Nigeria has an issue with our refineries. We queue at the gas station for imported refined products of crude oil that we have in abundance. What did he do? He cited a refinery in Nigeria. Instead of going to ship it from abroad, we'll now get it at our backyard. That's solution. Look at other of his businesses. Look at the manufacturing sector where he entered. Look at past depended on foreign pastas, the Italian pasta for us to feed. What did he do? He started producing these things here. He's now at our backyard. So he's providing solution. When you go through his chain of businesses, look at the cement, for example. Cement used to be an issue in Nigeria. We depended solely on importation, even when we have the limestones here. What did he do? He bridged the gap. That's his solution.
Yeah.
Then go over to look at Mike Adenuga, for example. There are myriads of examples that one can cite about solution providers, men who didn't just see a problem. They, in finding solution, what do you find? You find breakthrough. And in finding solution, where it is created. That's why I listen to people like Tony Lumelu more. So we don't just get fixated on the problem or complain about what is not working. What have you done to make make the situation work? So I cited Adenuga. For example, Adenuga who know had been in the oil sector as well. But what did he do in the communication industry? He saw an opportunity. There was a problem, and in that problem lies an opportunity. He, commands the national carrier in the absence of NITEL. He held the second license of the national carrier, betting Globacom as we know it today. And Globacom is a big player in the telecom industry. These are problem solvers, and they become, successful at it. Cite any successful man in the world, and I tell you, that person is filling a void by solving a problem. So instead of being a complainant or always complaining about what's not working, perhaps in the office, what people are not doing well, ask yourself a question. What are you doing better than the rest? What can I do to improve the situation? Before you complain, have you made an attempt to improve that situation? And you bring it to Nigeria. We all complain about our leaders. And when we get there, do we do anything differently or toe the tide? That's the issue. So instead of playing the victim card, you begin to imbibe the no excuse culture where you're a solution provider. So there are a lot of, things to cite. And when I get to marketplace, because you know that we're a generation of entrepreneurs and we are at the marketplace, what do we do at the marketplace? Why does the Igbo man excel? Igbo man excel because we provide solution to people's need. That's why wherever you go to, Go to Biu, you'll see an Igbo man there. Go to Yobe State, Krukushe, is a town, when I knew it, there was no road. There's no means of transportation during rainy season. You have to take a speedboat to get to the village. But go there, you see an Igbo man. And I have traveled around the looks and cranny of Nigeria, especially the northern part of Nigeria. And there's no village you get to where you do not see an Igbo man. And what do there? They are solution providers. They have dealing in petty trade. But whatever they deal in, you see that is what the people need. Yeah. And in the evenings, see how people flock around the place they site their business because they are solution providers. They do not dwell on the problem. They proffer solution. And that is why when you see us as entrepreneurs, you go to the market, we don't complain. We do not sit on our feet waiting for government to do things for us. We do it for ourselves. And how do we get them solved? We'll get to the market, see people's need. We'll create opportunity by solving those needs. Then we are importers and people complain. What are we doing? We are making Nigeria work because we are providing the things that Nigerians don't have. And that is only way one can be successful. So Ngozi this morning, in telling us that we should be not just, finding problems, but that's what I believe in. So it's not about what you carry, either the Quran or the scripture or that. If you are not a problem solver, I believe the gates of heaven will be closed against you.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you very much. Well, if you're not a problem solver, if you don't find solution in something that is going wrong, you'd also find out that you remain stagnant in that same position which you've always been, because you spend your whole time complaining, you spend your whole time pointing at things that are going wrong, when you should also spend that time on finding solutions, finding ways to make it work, finding ways to make it go smoothly. So let's try today to become solution finders ourselves. And also, even if we are facing any problems or whatsoever, let us look for solutions. Even if you don't come up with the solution, you can ask your neighbors, you can ask anybody to help you out in finding the solution. Like they said, a problem shared is a problem half solved. And also, while we're doing that, let us keep in mind that every new sunrise is a platform, is an opportunity where we grow new, or simply be more present in whatever we do. Now let us know what this quote means to you. You can drop your thoughts on our social media platforms: Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all at Aneke TV, or call our phone number 070-3043-7110. And up next is our weather report for today.
Yes, we'll take a look at the weather reports across major cities in the southeast today.
And starting off with Oka, the day kicks off with some sunshine and passing showers, which is a mix of bright skies and gentle clouds to keep things interesting. So expect highs around 32 degrees Celsius by the afternoon, with scattered showers here and there and a light breeze to freshen up your step.
Hello, Enugu. Good morning, the core city. Today looks mostly cloudy but warm, with bright intervals peeking through. You will enjoy highs around 34 degrees Celsius and a dry day ahead. So go easy with our sunscreen.
And in Abakaliki rises hot and active. Expect mostly dry conditions with plenty of sunshine and warmth, with highs touching around 38 to 40 degrees Celsius. That's heat wave vibe, so it's ideal weather for ice drink and shady sports.
And good morning, Imo State. Welcome to Owerri. Owerri is set for another sun-kissed day with warm to hot temperatures. January usually brings highs, sunny temperatures often in the low 30 degrees Celsius with plenty of sunshine. So expect bright skies and heat.
And lastly, in Umahia continues the trend with a warm and mostly dry day, where temperatures often hover in the low 30 degrees Celsius, which is perfect for hustling outdoors, but don't forget water and shade.
So, wherever you are in the southeast today, stay safe, stay cool, dress light, but do remember that either rain or shine, we've got you covered. And this is your weather report here on Sunrise on Aneke TV. We'll go on a short break and we'll return with more news updates.
Security is not just police on patrol. It is safety in homes, schools, markets, and mines. Without it, progress is impossible. Be alert, report danger, support community watch True security is collective responsibility. Security is not just police on patrol. It is safety in homes, schools, markets, and mines. Without it, progress is impossible. Be alert, report danger, support community watch. True security is collective responsibility.
You're still watching Sunrise on Aneke TV. Now we'll be taking a look at our newspaper for today. Now, starting from The Nation, Punch, Vanguard, and The Guardian newspaper.
And joining us this morning is Mr. Goodhope, the man of many parts, the sports oracle, and the commissioner of plenty enjoyment. Mr. Goodhope, it's a pleasure to have you this morning.
Good morning. Thank you very much for having me.
All right, and how is Nigeria treating you?
Nigeria is treating me well.
Yes, you look Nigeria like Nigeria is treating you well.
Thank you very much.
I hope that these boys will not carry when they see you dropping with all use this way.
Is well, someone just did. Well, we'll see what happens at the end of the day.
All right.
Okay, now moving over to our newspapers for today, starting from The Nation headline, where The Nation paper says, Kano quakes with governor, lawmakers defection to APC. And on the Punch headline, military investigation ends, defense headquarters move to arraign alleged coup plotters. And on the Vanguard paper, it says coup, 16 indicted officers to face court-martial, defense headquarters. And on the Guardian headline, the major headline there says residents on the brink as rent spike above yearly income in major cities. Now, our paper for today will be starting off with the Punch newspaper, where the headline talks about military investigation ends. Defense headquarters move to arraign alleged coup plotters. Now, the defense headquarters has concluded investigation into an alleged coup plot within the military. The defense headquarters says it is now set to arraign the suspect, signaling a firm stance against any act that threatens national security. Authorities insist the process will follow due military and legal procedures as they move to protect the integrity of the armed forces.
All right. You know, seeing this headline tells you a lot about Nigeria.
Yeah.
When people say that government begin to, when government is, that when government is denying something, there's possibility that that is good. And what we're saying here is that seeing this headline, that perhaps when we did hear in October that there was an internal military affair, it now begins to give credence to those rumors, and then why people, take a lot of, concern when rumors fly that there may be atom of truth in them. But in all, we'll see that defense headquarters are moving to arraign these very individuals. We do remember that when the news broke in around October, where we were told that about 16 officers had been arrested for acts of indiscipline and alleged misconduct, a lot of information was filtering in at that point in time as to the possibility of a coup, taking place, an attempted coup, taking place in Nigeria, which the government at that time came out publicly to deny that there was nothing of that nature. I do remember that the then Director of Defense Information, Brigadier Gesu, now retired, at that point in time, played down the whole scenario by telling us that what was happening was just an internal, disciplinary issues and misconduct by some officers, which they are taking care of, in the military faction. Then seeing this headline this morning, where defense headquarters moves to arraign alleged coup plotters, begins to tell us that at the end of the day, that story was not just rumor, but indeed there is an atom of truth in it, being that even the October 1st parade was cancelled due to this alleged coup plotting or an attempt to remove the government in place as at that time, which the military did deny. But today they have come out publicly to tell us that yes, they've concluded investigation into these issues, and that the officers who are found wanting, will be prosecuted according to military rule. And what are we looking at here? About 16 officers ranging from the rank of captain to brigadier general have been arrested, in regard to this issue. And we are told now, information that is filtered in, that yes, that this individual even infiltrated the villa and had access to security installation based on surveillance. And what have not come out publicly to tell us is how this information was uncovered, and we know that yes, they were arrested and investigation have been going on, but there are a lot of information that is unavailable to the general public at this time. But what we do know is what the military is telling us, being that General Samaila Oba, who is now the defense information officer in charge, is telling us yes, that they've concluded investigation, and this arrested individual who had been kept in detention since October, would have faced trial according to the military law. And what is the military law? We know that there is a possibility, they say, about judicial panel, and we know that in the military, what we look at is the military court martial. But being that we are in democracy, yes, they will be tried according to the military act. There's no doubt about it. But what one may want to ask here, the questions I've raised earlier on, how did we uncover this coup plot? How did it come about? You do remember that at a point in this nation, there was each era when there was people were arrested for attempting to overthrow the government of General Sani Abacha around 1993, 1997, thereabout. We remember that the second in command then, General Ladipo Dia, was arrested on what many has, come out to claim is a perpetrated coup attempt. But be that as it may, he was indeed arrested, and all the officers and even civilians who were found, to be part of that plot were arrested, detained, and tried. And some of them were, sentenced to die by the military court martial then. Even the then former president Olusegun Obasanjo was, caught in between the fireworks, being that he was alleged to be part of the coup plot as those who were plotting to overthrow the government of General Sani Abacha. But be that as it may, at the end of the day, there were a lot of holes in the allegation of, against this very individual, though we've seen high-ranking officers in that government come publicly to say, yes, that this individual were involved in attempt to overthrow the government of the day. But be that as may, we even saw videos where General Oladipo Dia was pleading to then Mustafa to, to beg the head of state to tamper justice with mercy. And beyond that, even in 1999, when President Olusegun Obasanjo just took over, we heard rumors to an attempted coup, to take over his government, though we didn't hear much about that. But we knew that the military at that era, at that period, were well taken care of and were well looked after. But one thing that is certain is that beyond that period, we've not seen situation where there were attempts to overthrow any government in Nigeria. So it became, not just news, but reason for concern by many Nigerians when we heard that there was an attempt to remove a newly elected government in place. And that's why we were asking that the government should be very thorough in this investigation, even giving credence to the fact that we've seen an activist group, coming out to plead on behalf of the individuals who've been detained, citing health concerns that the government should tamper justice with mercy. But we know that whenever a soldier, embarks on a kill, they know the consequences of their action. But one thing we will not separate from that, when we say yes, the law should take its course, is that we should be very, very sure that this individual did made an attempt to overthrow the government of the. Let it not be a security gimmick where you begin to run a counter operation to forestall any such eventuality. But given what has been happening in the African sub-region, starting from 2020, 2021, where we've seen queues from Mali, Chad, and Niger, Guinea-Bissau, Burkina Faso, since 2020 ranging to 2025, it's been myriads of queue around Africa. And when one sees this same attempt, in Nigeria, it now raises concern, one may begin to ask questions. What is happening with our democracy? Does it mean that we no longer believe in democracy, or that the military no longer believe in democracy, given that the fact that, yes, around Africa, in 2025 alone, we've seen queue in Madagascar and Guinea-Bissau, not to talk about Burkina Faso, where the military junta is holding sway. And recently, there was what I would call a diplomatic altercation with Nigeria, where our officers were seized with our aircraft, you understand? And going to Niger, Chad as well, you see this aura of military presence, military took over being a thing in Africa when we were beginning to embrace democracy. And that may force people to ask question again. And part of the question that we will ask is not just to the military, why are they now disgruntled about the leadership and democracy if there's this information available to us, being that the military are now telling us after denying what they did say then was a misconduct, a disciplinary act, a misconduct by their officers, now being fashioned to be a coup attempt against a newly elected government. Then we'll begin to ask beyond the military that the leadership, speaking to politicians now, that they need to be cautious of their action. Over time, when you study the issues that lead to coup over time, and taking the Nigerian case, for example, when you study the coup that we've had in Nigeria, let's talk about the successful one that indeed ousted the government of the day. What were the issues cited? We look at the Chukuma Kaduna Zogu coup. Beyond Chukuma Kaduna Zogu, the Ferdimka coup, when you look at the reasons alluded to why they want to take arms against the then government of the day, you will see that these very scenarios are not far-fetched, which is why we would call on our politicians to do an introspection into the kind of leadership they provide the nation. Because now that the return to military rule has become a thing in Africa, it causes even more reason to why they have to, be very cautious of their action. And if one is saying that the politicians should be cautious of their action, I take you to the issues I raised. When you look at the Nzogu coup, what were the issues cited? You will see issues ranging to misappropriation, corruption, and you see issue to the unity, threat to the unity of the country, nepotism was cited. And I asked the question, these very facts that these coup plotters then, alluded to why they want to take over, is it still happening in Nigeria of today? You will find the traces of these things happening, which is why I stand on the political class taking an introspection into their action on anything that would encourage the military to want to, get themselves involved in politics or in leadership one more time. You remember what will suffer to return to the democracy that we now enjoy, and which, when I say that the political class should do an introspection, is not to say that whatever action the military, whatever action they take in terms of trying to, scuttle the democracy that we now enjoy should be applauded. No. I believe that any man who has taken up arms against the nation should face the wrath of the law. But beyond facing the wrath of the law, we should be factual that this indeed did happen. I have cited situations in the past where people were framed up for coup, and up till today we do not have a categorical evidence that this said individual were actually involved in the coup, because each and every one of them over time continue to plead their innocence. And this leads to even the former president Olusegun Obasanjo. When you read his accounts of his experiences, even in my watch, volume 1 to 3, you will cite where he mentioned issues to his being framed and incarcerated over years, being kept. He was meant to serve a life imprisonment or so. And this individual has continued to tell you that they were innocent of these crimes. So that leads one to call for thorough investigation. And where they've come, I know that this is a military issue, but they should as well, since we are in a democracy, avail us with information, although that may come out during the judicial trial of these officers. Yeah. Yes, but there should be certainty that indeed there was an attempt to overthrow the government of the day. And we, categorically criticize any attempt by the military to take over. People lost their life for this democracy that we enjoy today. And we did say that the worst of democracy is better than any military junta anywhere. If one has to go back to history and take into account what we suffered as a nation, you will now begin to see why we have to cherish democracy, and all hands needs to be on deck. Even the leaders and the led, all hands has to be on deck to see that we protect this democracy. A lot of individuals who fought for return to democracy in Nigeria, people paid the ultimate price with their lives. And even the sitting president, a number of times, though that has been made in controversy. But I know that he was one of the pro-Nadeco activists who fought for return to democracy. And they should be at the front burner to see that they offer this country a leadership that is unquestionable, that will not give those in arms, speaking to the military, the courage to want to rise arm against the Nigerian state. But be that as it may, now that, yes, we are being told that they have concluded investigation and these people will be tried and given the information about these alleged coup plotters infiltrating the villa and having access to security installation and good enough, why I believe that there may be a loss of evidence available, because the information even in the Punch this morning is citing to the fact that some Julius Berger staffs are compromised, leading to the fact that whoever is involved, people who are involved have been uncovered. And as we proceed into trial, I know that a law will be uncovered. But the milestone that we've gained in democracy is such that we'll have to cherish it no matter what happens. We do not want military back, at the saddle of leadership in this nation. In our recent history, just coming out from that, this nation did suffer a lot. When we've not finished paying from years of military misrule in Nigeria, and is a leadership that no adult or mature Nigeria who witnessed the military era, stemming from, let's even talk from the era of the Babangida, as military president, as he titled himself, the military president then, and to the era of Abacha. Nobody would want to witness such a scenario. But in all, if this individual are indeed, there's overwhelming evidence that they made an attempt to overthrow the government, the democratically elected government of the day, then they should be, marshaled to face the law according to the military rule. And we have heard individuals asking that Mr. President should intervene. I tell you, in the military, there are strict rules. Beyond intervention, we've seen situations where, yes, they can be pardoned, but they have to be tried to deter other people from towing such line, especially given that military coup and return to military rule is a thing in Africa. So we have to do everything categorically to see that we discourage such from happening.
Yeah.
But beyond this, one thing I can equally tell you is that the investigation should go beyond the officers involved. When you are plotting a coup, I tell you, there's a lot of resources that is needed. So we'll have to equally uncover the backers of this individual if indeed there was an attempt to overthrow the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Let them equally dig deeper to uncover the financiers of such an attempt. Though it's been brought to our notice about the senator from Bayelsa State who has fled Nigeria at this moment as one of the alleged backers of this very coup. But beyond that, they should do well to uncover the individual and the motive why they want to overthrow a democratically elected government in Nigeria. And if that's not done, then I tell you, we may run the risk of having another attempt at the government. Because I tell you, one thing that is certain is that a lot of individuals are watching to see how Nigeria handles this very issue around coup plotters.
Yeah.
But I tell you, there is alleged coup until they are found guilty at the, a well-constituted judicial panel of inquiry that will try them for attempted coup. But every soldier that gets involved in coup knows what they are getting into. And when it fails, you should be bold enough to dance the music.
Yeah.
Yes, and well enough, Nigeria was involved in foiling an attempted coup in Benin, in just our backyard here. So that tells you that nowhere on earth, around Africa, for example, that Nigeria particularly being the giant of Africa and a leader in African Union should be able to stand strong. We are helping other nations for coup attempts. We did save Benin from, getting back into a military dictatorship. And in Nigeria, we should set the example and deter very, disgruntled soldiers from embarking on such type. And one of the things that we need to do as a nation is to see that our military officers are well taken care of. And when you take care of them and you offer a leadership that the people would say to be one that they want, that offer people hope, you will rarely see a situation where there's an attempted coup to overthrow the government of the day. And leading me to ask a number of questions that I may not raise on air, but what in itself is what I want to know that encouraged this very individual to want to raise and overthrow the government of the day, being that since we returned to democracy since 1999, apart from that, rumored attempt to remove President Olusegun Obasanjo from the seat of power, we've not had any other planned attempt, at overthrowing a democratically elected government in Nigeria in this dispensation. So for this to happen at this hour, there has to be a holistic investigation as to, being a deterrent from such from happening. But one thing I tell you is that I call on the political class that they have to do an introspection on the quality and kind of leadership that they offer the country. And that's the only way we will forestall a coup attempt against the leadership in Nigeria.
All right, thank you very much for that. Now moving over to our next paper for today, coming from the Nation newspaper, where the headline says, Kano quakes with governor, lawmakers defection to APC. Kano state politics is experiencing a major shakeup as the governor and several lawmakers defect to the All Progressive Congress, APC. The move has sent shockwaves across the political landscape, withdrawing alliances and stirring intense reaction within the state. Analysts say this development could significantly alter political calculations ahead of future elections, with Kano remaining a key battleground state. Mr. Oche, I'd like to know your own take.
All right. For a long time now, we've seen this coming. We've been speculation about. There's been a lot of speculation about the governor's, attempt to move to the APC.
Yeah.
But one thing that I do not know for certain is if all he wanted has been granted to him by the APC, leading to this, the campaign to the APC. But be that as it may, it's been long, long, long in the offering. Is not rumor. I believe that even the deaf have heard about his rumor defection, and for perhaps the blind would feel and touch this defection. But be that as it may, over since I got into this very administration under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, one thing that has been very obvious is that there has been decampment by every governor across the region to, they come to the APC. Look at what has happened in eastern Nigeria, where you know that the APC was somewhat an anathema in southeast Nigeria. People never wanted anything to do with APC. But today, how many states in southeast Nigeria is tilted towards the APC? You have Imo State, you have Enugu State, and Ebonyi State, and now fully APC states, being that the governors of these states are decamped. And when you look at the merits of the camping from south, south, southeast, southwest, and even in the north, then it's obvious that when you see, a governor moving over to the APC becomes the usual. But one thing that surprises many is that Kano State, no one expected Abba Yusuf, of Kano to defect to the APC. When we go back to history and look at how that election was fought, his victory was fought between the Kwankwasia movement, the NNPP that he left for APC, you will discover that it was a tough battle, speaking to the governorship election that he won under the previous party. And then him turning around to go to APC, one began to ask, why did he decamp? Though when I listened to the governor, he cited a lot of issues. He said governance realities, is one of the issues that has prompted him to decamp to the APC, citing national coherence and development as part of his reason for decamping to APC. But when I listen to even every other governor that has decamped, you see that, yes, all their reason for the campaign can be hinged on governance realities. A lot of them told us that they want to align their state with the center. And when the governor speaks in that way, then you know that it's the same script that is being written here. But when I look at his defection, just like former national chairman of APC, did say, it speaks to courage for him to have the boldness to move away from Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, the leader of the Kwankwasia movement. If you understand Kano politics and what it takes, you will know that Senator Rabiu Kwankwaso is a major force. Being that the governor was in an opposition and they were able to defeat an incumbent, political party in Kano State for him to clinch that seat, leaves a lot to desire when you see that he's now moved back. Because then the then governor of Kano State, Ganduje, was living, and they had a candidate whom he defeated in a very ferocious battle. And now he has gone over to this side. Speaks to courage and boldness for him to want to live. And he has cited in his living, he was able to decamp with 22 state House of Assembly members and 8 House of Reps, House of Rep members, and around 44 members of local government chairmen with 484 councillors. These are the individual that has moved with him. But one other thing that you may observe is that the deputy governor didn't, defect with the governor, giving credence that Kano State will be a tough political ground going into 2027 election. That's one thing that is very certain, and this now changes the political dynamics in Nigeria.
Yeah.
What we're now watching to see is the cards that Senator Musa Kwankwaso will trump up as to where he will move, and that will have a lot to determine. When you look at the number of votes that comes from Kano, this state, Kano is one of the KK states when it comes to Nigeria that determine who really wins the presidential election in Nigeria. And this is a state that can give you upwards of 2 million votes over time. And it speaks to who will inherit the votes left behind by former President Muhammadu Buhari, because in as much as we speak to Castina, Kaduna, Kano is still one of the grounds where the former president is so much loved, and he has a lot of followers who are equally respectful of him. And now that the Kwankwasia movement seems to be a little disturbed, I'll use the word a little disturbed, not in this array, you understand, then it now throws a lot up, being that Kano may be an open political ground going into 2027. But like they do say, nothing, you have to expect anything and everything in politics. And I do not rule away the possibility that Senator Rabi Musa Kwankwaso may, at the end of the day, follow his political godson into the APC. And one other good thing is that the son of Kwankwaso, Mustafa, equally resigned his position as Commissioner for Youth and Sports Development in Kano State, speaking to a loyalty issue why he resigned from the government of Abba. And I tell you categorically that Kano will be a tough battleground going forward. But a lot will be dependent on what the movement of Senator Rabi Musa Kwankwaso going forward. If it is towards the coalition, then it throws Kano up as a big battleground. The only thing that keeps me at this point in time gazing is the fact that I may find it difficult to believe that Kwankwaso will be, go back into the same party with Umar Ganduje. Remember that there's a tripartite, movement in Kano politics, such that when Shakaro, former governor of Kano State, is in a political party, Kwankwaso tend to be at the other end. And now involving Umar Ganduje, there seems to be this crisscrossing amongst them that they don't really belong to the same political party. Even when one of them meets the other in the other political party, just be certain that this other individual will be defecting anytime soon. And I tell you, Kano politics is quite interesting. And you see that this defection and welcoming into APC is happening inside the government's house. It's not happening outside, like we did witness in Enugu State when the governor defected. What did we see? He came out publicly and we saw a lot of people and individual. And I tell you, a lot of people in Kano will not be happy with their governor moving to the APC. That I can give you for free. And it gives credence to why they have to do the whole exercise in a hall in the government house in Kano State. So, be that as it may, one is not surprised. But one thing that is for sure is that the Kano politics has been thrown open, and it will be a fight for all the political parties, the coalition, depending on where Senator Rabi Musa Kwankwaso tilts towards, going forward in coming days. We'll wait to see how that unravels.
All right, thank you very much for that. Now to our next paper for today, coming from the Guardian newspaper, where the headline says, residents on the brink as rents spike above yearly income in major cities. Across Nigeria's major cities, residents are feeling the heat as rent prices soar beyond that many earn in an entire year. Tenants say housing costs have become unbearable, forcing families to downsize, relocate, or live under financial strain. Housing advocates are calling for urgent government intervention to address the growing urban housing crisis. Mr. Goodhope, I would like to know your thoughts on this.
Well, it has been it just came to the news, but it has been happening all over, especially in Nigeria. And we've seen this happen many times. We've seen where the house owner would just wake up to increase the rent, and like I said, this is it making it to the news, but it has been happening. I remember the scenario that just happened recently, I think last year, where someone paid for a house of the house formerly should be around 2 million, but just between between 1 year, like within 1 year, the house spiked from 2 million to 10 million. That's about 400% increase. You know, that kind of a thing. It is not, it is what the federal government need to look into. We talked about it the other day, that we are having something that is unusual, where house agents would spike uh, prices, what you should pay. They will not even give a breakdown of this. They will just tell you, if you're not paying, just go, because they know that if you won't pay that amount of money,
If you know what is this for.
someone else will come. Someone else that is more desperate than you will come and pay it. Do you get? So now the agents are taking over. They are just trying to influence the decision of the landlords. And where it is bad is that there's no basic details of why am I paying this amount of money. Now, they will not go into explanation of all these things, because you don't expect them, as people who owned the house, to start explaining, to start being detailed to you. But where I want to draw and talk about this, especially in this spike, is in the caution fee. There's something we call caution fee that you pay when you are going into a house. You pay in case if there's any damage in the room, it will be used as a replacement to whatever you may have damaged while moving out. Now, I feel that that is a problem in some area, because when you talk about caution fee, at the end of the day, some of these landlords don't give back caution fee, and this. Well, let me not talk about the caution fee, because many people, we are talking about modern house rents now, because many people don't even understand that this house that is being given to you was given to you at the price that you can afford it. But the agent will increase, will put something on it. And like I said the other time, I told you the other time, that if even in the land use, in the way they come together to sell land, let's say communities are coming together to sell land, families are coming together to sell land. You know, this is a family, and this is how it is. Why these things are getting costlier is not because of the major cost. It's just because there are people to settle. Do you get? For instance, agents, all those money they add in those those house rent fees, is they have 4 to 5 people. Because if I see, look at how it works. If I see this house now, I will post about this house. And if I post about this house, somebody else will post about the same house. Or one landlord can meet 4, 5 people and tell them, I have a house I want to give out to. Please help me find who will. Now, he will call this agent, he will call the next agent, and he will call the third agent and say, please, 3 of you should help me find someone that will stay in this space. Now, what they do is that they have to increase, do you get? They have to increase the price of that house rent, so they can get enough money, so that each agent can get up to 50, and that is telling on the masses, and that is telling on the people who are paying. How can 2 bedroom flats that have a POP ceiling be 5 million naira? Okay, let me tell you people what happened yesterday. I was in a particular area. I was going down in a particular area. The road was dusty. It was a good place where that is still developing in here in the east. So I was going down that street, and everywhere being dusty. So the person that was taking me there, I told the person that if we are suffering from dust, I told the person that in a moment I just caught myself. I told the person that if the state government come here, let developers, let the people living around here, let them come together and do something about this road. It's dusty. It could cause a health issue to people, and that is something we don't want. Now, in a moment, as I was saying that, I caught myself. I remember the agents. I remember the landlords and the house, how it will affect the house rent, and immediately I have to change my words. Like, imagine that kind of influence that I'm not afraid of what it will be. Immediately I have to change my words, and I was like, yes, if you ever tar this road, if you fix this road and do it well, fix the whole gutter and everything, because the road, the access, the house or the housing estate has a good road, a good access road, they will increase the rent. And if they increase the rent, it will affect the people that need to pay. Look at what we have in the news today, that these people are, that because of this hike in rent, many people are residing to the low options, which they would never or would have made the choice earlier. So it is a problem, and we're calling on the state government and also the federal government. I'm sure this is so rampant. Not just in the east, but also in Lagos. So this is rampant that we are having this case of agents and house rent being hiked for no reason, just because there are people to settle. And that is what we would not want to, because it is now telling on the people who are paying, and it's affecting our economy, because you are looking at someone who has the money to pay for this space so that they can be able to fix their mind and also fix their thoughts and also fix other things. Before you know it, they will not have that ability to, they will not be able to pay that amount of money. Let's say, oh, 2-bedroom flat, 3-bedroom flat, you are seeing it at 10 million. And the reason why this house is 10 million is not because of what is in the house, it's because of the location. And not just because of the location, like I said, it's because of the access road. So does it mean that if the government intervenes to give every street, let's say streets, if the government intervenes to fix the street, to fix the places, that they won't that they the landlords won't appreciate that by helping, do you get what I'm saying?
I get.
By helping the people living there to have a better rent or something. You see somebody, like I told you, from 2 million to 10 million, and if you're not going to pay it, just go. They will not. Do you get?
There's an advert I saw where someone posted the house was just for a year. So once you're done, once your rent expires a year, because I think the initial payment was supposed to be 500,000, and then why the rent is 250. Now once you're done for a year, you move out. So
Once you-
another person can come in
You
and
see,
pay that initial payment.
pay that initial payment.
Yes.
And that is why also people choose to pay 5 years, because they know that in the next 5 years, like I was discussing with someone, person told me, when I get money, I'm going to pay 10 years. I said 10 years. See, because I know that in the next 10 years, that this rent, that this house I'm getting for 5 million could be 20 million.
Yeah.
Do you get? So I'm going to pay this initial amount for that 10, so that I know that I have settled this one. So unless the landlord, because there's a way they do it now, they will come again and will give you a notification that this year, no, so that means you are not even safe. So if you like pay
With all the
100 years,
charges, the lawyer fee, the agent fee, and all
so
that,
if you like pay 100 years, they will every year when it's time for them to increase the rent, and they're not considerate. I've seen this happen. If also when many years ago, I've seen this happen with students in a student area too, where landlords hike prices. They just wake up one morning and come to you and tell you, we are increasing this rent, and if you don't want to stay, just go, because they know that other students will come in.
Yes.
That being a problem has affected many students. And from one of the stories I heard, that led one of the girls to get into a relationship which she should not have gotten into, just because of one not making sense hiking of rent. And it does not, it tells on the young people much more as it tells on the Nigerian citizens. People will just choose to go and buy land and just construct anything without having the safety measures that they should apply. So that is a problem for you. That is really,
All
really a
right,
problem.
it's quite inspiring listening to you, talk about the housing issues in Nigeria in this way, and this is something that affects the generality of Nigerians. And a number of times we've cited inflation as part of why the cost of rent in Nigeria has gone up so high. And when one begins to look further, you see, actually, yes, those who are building, who are into real estate, often cite the cost of material. For example, the price of cement in Nigeria is 10,000, 10,500, depending on the brand of cement that you want. And when you look at the price of rod, that is used in construction, and you can get it depending on the millimeter of the iron, you understand, that you need for construction. And when you look at, if you are doing a decking and all that, you'll be looking at something like upwards of 16, 15, 16 mm rod, for you to be able to build. And what's the cost of rod in Nigeria? You look at 9,500 to 12,000 naira, and you know the quantity that one need to be able to raise a good structure in Nigeria. But what does this naturally tells you about the cost of things in Nigeria? Because these things have they have recurring effects generally, And when you ask the manufacturers of this product, what would they cite? They will cite expensive cost of haulage. You understand? So this in itself, at the end of the day, has a way of trickling down to the rent payers, and leading me to asking one critical question. That does not mean that, yes, I hold government accountable or to say that they are not doing enough, but there's an aspect where I can tell you that government is not doing enough. And growing up, we realize that in Nigeria, there is what you used to see as a housing units, perhaps for civil servants, But in these days, most governments across the subnationals and even the federal government, I ask, where are the housing development units in Nigeria today? Those GRAs were quarters that were built for highly placed government workers that were inherited at the expiration of colonial rule in Nigeria. But did we maintain that culture? When you go around Ikoyi, for example, or even the Bodleian, apart from the houses that has been bought over by the might and rich in Nigeria, you look at what the GRAs has turned to. It's no longer a high maintenance area as they used to be in some of the cities when you move around, given to maintenance culture and the cost of things generally. But the point I'm trying to make is that the state governments and the federal governments are no longer building, for the masses in Nigeria who face construction of roads as the in thing. Why is it that the government no longer build housing units, perhaps for civil servants? And I tell people that when you have enough housing units for civil servants, that will create a vacuum, for other people to be able to fill in and have accommodation in Nigeria. But when you look at the cost of housing across, not just, look at Southwest, for example, when you look at the cost of housing in Lagos, travel down to Ekiti, Ogun, and you come to Southeast Nigeria, look at the prices of house. I listen to you speak to what they call, when it comes to a self-contained apartment, it becomes very horrible that somebody would take such an exorbitant amount, and in some places a self-contained apartment, it may be up to 1 point something million depending on location. And what does that tell you? That indeed the housing deficit in Nigeria is so huge and wide, and it's been data available points to the fact that it gets up to 28 million, in deficit, the number of housing that you need before we stop talking about what we are saying. And naturally, people will want to take advantage. And when I've cited the cost of materials, the cost of living in Nigeria, and you have landlords who see these buildings, these apartments as a business, and they would want to make excess profit from it for them to be able to balance the equation. What's the cost of energy in Nigeria? These are the things you check. At the end of the day, they are applied to these rents. And again, it now points me to what the information that the World Bank has released as to concerning Nigeria in terms of population. They are estimating that by 2050, the population of Nigeria will be well over 200 million. And what would that tell you? That this issue that we are talking about won't be solved. What you will see is that there will be a lot of urban slums across the regions in Nigeria. If we do not have enough housing for the populace, being that we are still rumored to be around or well over 150 million in population, what will happen when the population now, grows exponentially beyond 200 million? It now becomes that the situation becomes even more worrisome and worse than what it is now. People will no longer see accommodation that way. So the onus lies on government to begin to work towards providing cheap accommodation for the masses, what happens to these various, you see empty plots of land that are given away to all these real estate developers? Why has government removed hand into such investments? And we are told, when you look at the fundamental duties of government, beyond the protection of life and property, another thing is to what? Make provision for the welfare of the people. So that's very important when we look at this house. When we look at this housing issue in Nigeria, it's very worrisome, and the fact that it will continue to grow worse beyond this. So all efforts should be the generality of the people beyond the government. There should be a concerted effort for us to look into this situation. And I hear you citing the agents who would want to take advantage. Is human nature. Avarice is human nature. People would always want to take advantage. And I have quoted data for you, data for you to see that this situation will be worse off in nearest future, and you will still have individual who will take double advantage of people. You continue to see, instead of the prices of housing, reducing, where the houses that are being cut for 1 million or 600 naira for a room apartment, you will see them, doubling up over time. So it's more worrisome, and this is where government needs to step in, because I believe that, yes, beyond the protection of life and property, that it is the responsibility of government to see to the welfare of people. And the generality of Nigerians are suffering when it comes to housing issue. And this is the same across the regions. We've cited the eastern Nigeria, and when you even go to southwest Nigeria, it's even more worrisome as well. And I tell you that the northern part of Nigeria is not left out. When you cross over from, even from Lokoja, going up to Abuja and Kaduna, when you hear the high cost of houses, then you may be, you may really understand that is a general issue in Nigeria.
Even Delta State.
Yes, so if all hands are not put on deck, it may be a serious challenge, especially in view of the information being released by World Bank as to the population of Nigeria growing upwards of 200 million beyond 2050. So it becomes more worrisome, and we'll need to really do something about it.
Yes, of course.
All right, thank you very much for that. Now we'll be taking a look at most trending stories in Nigeria. Now we're taking the story on Anambra State. Anambra governor says Onitsha market for 1 week over sit-at-home order. Soludo orders security to lock down the massive Onitsha main market, one of West Africa's largest, for a week after most traders skipped work Monday to follow sit-at-home order linked to IPOB's demand for Nnamdi Kanu release. The governor called it economic sabotage, vowing similar penalties for those markets that close, with losses estimated at 8 billion naira daily for Anambra. Supporters cheer the push for business recovery, while critics and IPOB backers decry it as overreach, leaving traders caught between state orders and fears of reprisals as heavy security deploys.
Well, this is something that has been on the forefront of the Southeast society, and this is a combination of economic and social infrastructural issues that we've been having. Of course, it is linked with the Mazin Nnamdi Kanu's IPOB sect and all those things. Well, I see this as something from my own end. I see it as something that has to be. There has been this issuance of order that sit at home is no longer an exercise we should take. This is affecting the Southeast economy, and not just the Southeast economy. This is also affecting businesses as well. Looking at what the governor, and from the fact that Onitsha market, main market, is one of the most interesting places. Like, it is a hub of market in the whole of Africa. I mean, that's the biggest market in the southeast.
It is the biggest market in West Africa.
In West Africa, and the next market you're having is around the southwest, around the west, and we are not in Onitsha market, and you can't bring something close to it. But look at what is happening, and I think the governor has to, he has sit down to think about this. And this is not from the report. This is not the first time these people are doing, this lockdown is happening. I mean, I don't know, but these things are serious, I can tell you. Look at how empty the whole place is just because of lockdown. And we're also going to come from the point of the people, because the people too have their own reasons why they have made the choice not to come, even while the others are there. They have also come out to make their own decision. This is up to them. Maybe some of them, due to the things they have seen happening at other places, the issue may have been that that they too have something to bring to the place. So it doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that they have to that they don't want to go to market. It's just about the security and the social economic issues which they have seen happening at other places. You know that on the Shamin market, it has is a place where there are mixture breed of people. Mr. Che, you
Okay,
can follow
you know,
that too.
when we're looking at this issue, for the governor to come up publicly to declare closure of that market, being
For
that they've been
1
encouraging
week.
people to come out, to stop observing this heat at home. But there's an angle to this issue. When you have an unconstitutional authority or an unelected authority, that has assumed the position of a moral authority over people, give an order and people continue to obey, this time around is no longer due to the enforcement of the unknown government, in quotes, but in principle to the conviction of the people. And I
Yes.
feel that what the government should have done is to start a reorientation, and engage the people the more through other means to encourage people to come out.
Come out.
Now, when the people you are stopping from doing their legitimate business because they refuse to come out on Monday, for me, I would want to interrogate legal jurisprudence on the legality of this if the governor is within his constitutional right to close the market for that long. But be that as it may, when we talk about sit at home in Southeast Nigeria, this is something that has drained the economy of the Southeast. And a lot of highly placed individuals have been crying about this situation for long. Look at the amount that is said to be lost in, 8 billion in just one day. And then you now begin to imagine, is it a situation where the governor is wanting to solve the situation, killing an ant with a
Yes.
sledgehammer? If we're losing up to 8 billion, in that market in one day, then it now leads me to ask the question, what really convinces the people to stay away from this market on Monday?
on Monday.
And that should be the issue. That conviction is what government should tackle from under. One thing I know is that this process that the governor has, instituted by closing the market, that when challenged by the generality of the people, we may see a situation that will deteriorate beyond this, and one thing with, where you have, let me use the word, a mob action, is that actions like this will spur a mob into more action. But be that as it may, the governor, for me, yes, he's the governor of that state. And one thing I know, the Onitsha traders, is their love for their business.
Yes.
So what
Their
the
love for
government
their
and the
business.
governor should tackle is that conviction that forces them to stay away
On
if
Mondays.
on Mondays, and find out how other states have tackled the same issue.
Like
I know
Enugu
for a
has
fact,
tackled
I know for a fact that in Enugu, you no longer have issues. You no longer have issues like this. You no longer have issues like this, in Enugu State, and perhaps even Abia State, though I've not really gotten the total information coming from Abia State, but I expect that the governor, as a professor, should, study other states and see what they've done and how they will handle the scenario, the situation without it deteriorating. But one thing that, saddens me is the humongous amount that we're losing
yes.
to that closure. Now, when you multiply 8 billion by, let's say, another 6 days, that tells you that they were losing a lot, and we should be able to reconsider and rethink our approach. And then leading me to ask another question. This approach that we've adopted to make our position known as to the incarceration of Mazin Nnamdi Kanu, has he achieved the desired result? Now, I may not know the answer to that, but has he really achieved that, result that he seemed to be want to achieve? One thing that is clear is that through sit at home, we've spoken clearly, loud and clear to the leadership of this nation, our position on issue. And one thing that has brought to the front burner is that the average Igbo man and the Southeasterners feel marginalized in Nigeria. But beyond the closing of the market, I encourage the governor to look for means to dialogue with the people, beyond, go sensitize the people, reorientate them why the market has to be open so that this situation may not degenerate beyond this. Because I know the average Onitsha man and trader in Onitsha, are people who are passionate about business. So the government has a lot to do in terms of finding why the people are convinced like this, that an unconstituted, unelected authority could give people that moral courage to want to sit away from their business on Mondays. And we've mentioned that he needs to look at how Enugu State and other states has handled the situation. But one thing that is for sure is that Southeast Nigeria is hemorrhaging, and this has hindered development in Southeast Nigeria, and a lot of business has moved away from Southeast Nigeria due to issues around sit at home. Yes.
All right, thank you very much for that. Still on the news, we have Abuja workers chase Wike's convoy amid strike over unpaid arrears. The chaotic pursuit came during an indefinite strike by FCTA and FCDA workers, their first ever protest in years of unpaid promotion arrears, while Wike seeks a court.
Well, this is another something that we saw in the news just last week, and we've seen this before, where the Nigerian Labour Congress went on that their protest in Abuja. That was in December, around December 21st or 2025. We saw this happening, and we saw this coming just last week. We had to take them to court. First of all, I would like to start with the asked for. But then looking at if a union or a Congress have insisted, if they have insisted that they are not, which have been made to many others, which were not fulfilled, even while they were told to resume. So I think the union, they are trying to, have be at their position, at the pole position, where they can be able to, have all the promises, and they're also tired of anything. And we keep doing it by, taking them to court. You see how he was when he came, he was chased away. He was harassed. He did not have that privilege to have how it is. So they have actually acted as they have deemed it fit, because they are looking at you. You can't, all these people here, you can't arrest all of them. You can't bring all of them to books. You can only touch the Congress, but you can't bring all of them to books. And that was the first time I saw it. I said that the power that the masses have are bigger than the power the one man would have. Because looking at this, they have been living on promises. They have been living on many things which they were told, and you can see it happening in other climes where, oh, we're going to just go, we'll settle you, we'll settle you, and it's taking 2 years, 3 years for the issues or for the rectification, for the promises which you were given to come. So they have to stand their ground to ensure that this will happen. And taking it by force does not mean anything. Like, it does not mean like, and it's just them and trying to do their thing. Yeah.
All right. When you're looking at that video, seeing the masses, chasing after the FCT minister, I have only one thing to say, that leaders need to be careful for their actions. One day it's always said that the oppressed will rise. And in this case, it's not to justify, the action of any group, taking, unlawful action against the government.
Yes.
But one thing that is obvious is that when the masses, stand up to protest against any leadership anywhere in the world, there's obvious one party that will cap into that situation, and that's usually the leadership, the government. We've seen that across many countries where issues that is not as big as this led to so many, revolution and toppling of a lot of leadership across many countries. So I would tell the FCT minister they need to sit down, look at these issues and find a way to resolve it, because from what we are seeing, the people, the workers are not giving up on their demand. And you look at a situation where the FCT minister has to run away, move through the back gate without sarin, wanting to steal away from the occasion, and the mass is chasing after him, tells you a lot. So that we shouldn't let themselves through the judiciary. And beyond that, after that, if all they want, there are other means where they can achieve their purpose. We should not take laws into our hands. But that's not to say that people, those in leadership, should act without a recourse to the welfare of the people. What is at stake here is the welfare of the workers. They have a legitimate demand, which the FCT minister is bound to sit down and consider and give a position on.
All right, thank you very much for that. Well, this is all for our newspaper reviews today and also our trending news today. Please not forget that you can grab your copies from any of your vendor. Now, up next is our sports update.
All right, thank you very much. Just how it is in the sports world, how it's happening. Calvin Bassey's dad has come out to say that he is dying in silence just because he has not had a contact with any of his any of his children. The major news we have in the world of sports, and thank you very much for having that.
All right, he has come out to say that he has never had contact with the children.
For 18 years.
He divorced the wife. He didn't tell us that part.
Well, he did not divorce the wife according to what he said. He said that they had a family argument, a husband and wife argument. He went to work. From the report, he went to work, and as he came back, the wife
He didn't find the family. The wife has left with children.
Yes.
Did he go looking for them all this while, or is it because the children are
After
becoming
18
successful?
years.
Well, he said that he has done all he could, because when Calvin Bassey was playing for the AFCON, that he went to AFCON he traveled from Italy to AFCON to that's Cote d'Ivoire, to talk with him or to have a contact with him. There was none of those things were granted, and other things he has done too. None of those things, according to what he said. So Calvin Bassey has not come out to say anything
until we hear from both
Yes,
parties.
yes, of course, of course.
And moving over to this business update, starting with the Nigerian stock markets for Tuesday, 27 January, being Monday. Today, I beg your pardon, for Monday, January 26, 2026, the Nigerian Stock Exchange started the week on a relatively flat note, managing a marginal gain as investor sentiment remained cautious. The benchmark All-Share Index ASI reached up 5.38 basis points to close at 165,517.56. Market capitalization followed suit, gaining approximately 3.45 billion naira to settle at 105.96 trillion naira. And looking at the top gainers, we see that the top gainers chart is led by financial and real estate services sector, with several stocks hitting the maximum daily limit. We are seeing MPF Microfinance Bank, leading the top five gainers for the day, closing the market at 5 naira 61 kobo, making a plus 10 positive adjustment. They are followed by Morrison Industries, which closed trading at 8 naira 27 kobo, a plus 9.97 positive adjustment, taking us to the list of top five losers, who are led by pharmaceutical and logistical sectors. We see May and Baker. May Baker closed trading yesterday at 39 naira 15 kobo, making a minus 10 negative adjustment. They are equally followed by Nemet, another pharmaceutical company, which closed trading yesterday at 11 naira 95 kobo, equally in the negative, a minus 9.81%. They are followed by ABC Transport. ABC Trans closed trading yesterday at 5 naira 15 kobo, in the negative as well, a minus 9.33 position yesterday. And then when we look at the market summary by volume, we saw 601.6 million shares that were traded at the value of 17.3 billion naira, in total deals worth 58,419 deals. And looking at the market breadth, slightly negative, with 35 gainers against 36 losers. And then looking at the Naira performance yesterday, we see that the Naira strengthened at the Nigerian foreign exchange market as liquidity condition improved, closing at the rate of 1,418.95 kobas against the dollar. And then when we go to the parallel market, we see that the informal market mirrored the official gains, though it continues to trade at a premium, closing at 1,485 Nairas against the dollar. And that's it for the business update today.
All right, thank you very much. And that is it for today's edition on Sunrise on Aneke TV. Please do not forget to follow us across our social media platforms, Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all at Aneke TV. And don't forget to call us on 070-3043-7110. I am Deborah Nwakuba.
All right, and thank you, Mr. Goodhope, the man of many parts. Thank you for coming on the Sunrise this morning.
Thank you very much.
And I'm Uche Osai. On behalf of all of us here on Sunrise at Aneke TV, we say thank you for watching and stay with us till we come your way same time tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Corruption in Nigeria is not limited to isolated scandals. It is systemic, deeply embedded, and sector-specific, affecting critical areas of governance, particularly oil and gas, power, the judiciary, and local government administration. These sectors highlight how weak oversight, institutional fragility, and